I always feel good headed into a series. And we kind of touched on this Sunday. This team may have a little bit better vibe on the road. Maybe just being away from home. They've seemed to hit a little bit better on the road, which
What's that about?
could be coincidence, but also could be just the nature of it. And, big time environments. And I think so much gets made about Lindsey Nelson being what it is that they can almost press. I don't know. Maybe it's just coincidence. They beat a bad South Carolina team on the road, and Alabama's okay, but I'd argue the A&M series at home, that was one of the better teams they've played, and then Kentucky's just a weird matchup they never play good against. So could be coincidence, but I think anytime you go to Alex Bucks, it's a big opportunity to grow as a team, and Tennessee's got some opportunity to make some moves back up the depth chart in terms of RPI and national seeding this weekend. And LSU, you're kind of catching them at a good time. They're in a similar. It's kind of been choppy for them as well.
Where do you rank that Alex Box Stadium in terms of spots to play? We had Todd Walker on the program yesterday, and Todd was saying that the crowd down there will be totally lathered and oiled. They love the Tony Vitello show coming to town. They love their college basketball. They're going to be fired up, focused, and prepared. Hey, John, he said the crazy Cajuns down there kind of enjoy Tony and what he brings to the deal and sort of the flavor of what he brings. You buy that, John, as well? They're going to relish it.
Maybe.
They're going to relish it.
I mean, he's the kind of guy that they would love to love as their coach. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the coach they have. They've won a national championship. But down there, they like personality. They like a big personality. Tony certainly has that. I was talking to a friend of mine here in my hometown of Clinton, Louisiana, and they have season tickets, 4 of them, and one of them, this lady raised a question about Tony Vitello. That I don't know about him. He's kind of controversial, isn't he? Yeah, he is.
They love it,
and he's not. He's just not. He's not the kind of guy, that other fans are going to embrace. But I do think other fans would like to have him as their coach at some point, because he's so outgoing, so extroverted, and he never shies away from an opinion. And I think, to Will's point, I can see where his teams would do well on the road. I mean, you go back to the Ole Miss series. I just think they kind of like that. And then maybe, you think about the 2022 team. It was pretty much perceived. They were perceived as the bad boys of college baseball. They really embraced that. This team isn't that extreme, but I think it still kind of carries that image. It's kind of a leftover from the 22 team.
Well, you guys were on the front end of that bad boy thing. Now, you got out of here before that year exploded, which exploded in that super regional here where it got really out of control. But you'd played with some real maniacs. What was it like going on the road with those nuts, the Gilberts of the world, and some of those insane people you had a chance to play with? Would they chirp at those fans?
No. It's always been a fine line of between the lines.
I'm going to take a break, Brian. Call him.
You could argue that things are handled, in a outgoing way, but Tennessee teams, I mean, there's never been a problem with an interaction with a fan. Like, it's a bunch of good dudes. They just Tony lets them be themselves.
This team doesn't have the edge past teams have had. Even last year's team. Have you noticed that? This team's very. This team could use a little bit of that, I think.
Well, they've got some. It's an interesting mix. I think they're trying to find their way.
Yep.
Which is a good.
And it's
really a good problem to have at this point in the season. You don't want to be feel like you got everything figured out.
Yeah, you kept saying that Sunday. The last thing you want to do is peak in April. So, and this team's far from played their best baseball. Okay, so here's the deal. What we're going to do in today's program is John, next hour is going to help us make sense of what we've been through. We're going to get a download on the man I'm calling Joey Football, which I don't think is too ostentatious to nickname this guy. I don't think this is too ostentatious to nickname the guy Joey Football right now. I think that's... And so... Joey Football, and then Nico Loser. We're going to come back. Listen.
What are you doing, Tony? Joey Football.
I don't hold the Nico guy.
He threw 14 interceptions in the Sun Belt.
His name is Joey, and he plays football.
The last time I checked, that constitutes him being Joey Football. Ron Higgins joins. We'll talk LSU, and then later on, we're going to have a gentleman on called the Film Guy. The Film Guy. The Film Guy. Brooks Austin's going to join us. He's done a video, and he's broken down Joey Football for us. And we'll get the returns. We'll continue with more on the other side after this. Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. And here at Rather & Kittrell, we understand that life is full of transitions. Since 2000, our team of dedicated certified financial planners has been helping individuals, families, and businesses navigate these changes with confidence. From comprehensive wealth management to tailored retirement plans, we're committed to guiding you toward a secure financial future. Ready to take the next step? Visit rkcapital.com or call us at 865-218-8400 to start your journey today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or ready for a new challenge? Do you feel like it's time to try a new career? Well, it's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. My friends at TLD Logistics have some really exciting opportunities for you to learn a new skill. With a new 5-acre driving academy that's now under new leadership with all new course material. And the best part, it's absolutely free. What a great deal to set you on the road to higher pay. And TLD Logistics even offers weekly stipends to offset food and gas expenses. In 6 weeks' time, you could complete this course and be in compliance with FMCSA regulations. Then you're ready for the open road of opportunity. What are you waiting for? It's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. Visit TLDlogistics.com. That's TLDlogistics.com. TLD Logistics.
Ward Dumpsters, your local and veteran-owned dumpster rental company, has 12 and 15-yard dumpsters, week-long and weekend specials. House cleaning, remodeling, yard cleanup, or construction, Ward Dumpsters has the dumpster for you. Servicing Blount County, Loudoun County, and Knox County since 2015, go to warddumpsters.com to reserve yours today or give us a call, 865-606-3011.
Boom! Ron
A
Higgins
lime
coming
is
up.
not always just a lime. You see, some limes are lucky. For when a lime joins the salted rim of a crisp, refreshing Tres Dos Equis, that lime is no longer a mere lime, but a wedge of renowned Mexican limon. Muchas gracias, limon. And also, de nada. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Why is it so stuffy in here? Don't tell me the AC's broken again. Ugh. No matter the season, a broken air conditioner, furnace, or heat pump is a nightmare. But if you need emergency HVAC repairs or need to invest in a new heating and cooling system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. With the seasons changing, be sure to spring forward into savings with Pipe Wrench. This month, when you buy and install a new heating or cooling system, you'll get a new water heater for only $150. Or you can choose to get instant savings towards your new HVAC system equal to the value of the water heater. We also make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer 0% financing with credit approval. We also offer a free 12-year warranty on select HVAC brands, including parts and labor when you purchase and install a new HVAC system. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit's free.
The great Higgs, ladies and gentlemen, back with you. And we'll get back to Jennifer here momentarily. Ron Higgins now joins us from beautiful Baton Rouge. Hey, Ron, what kind of roommate has John Adams been this week down at your cabana? Because I couldn't get anywhere with him earlier. I was trying to ask him about it, and I couldn't get anywhere with him as he's presented by Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com.
Well, I knew he was going to be trouble when he opened my back door and demanded Marriott points. You know,
John.
Yeah.
I asked him if you've awakened him yet, banging on the drums, because I know. Are you still hitting the skins?
In fact, yesterday I was thinking of the AC/DC concert I'm going to May 20th.
Nice, man.
In Nashville, so AC/DC is the simplest drummer in the world. A monkey could do that, really, almost.
Rock and roll until I die, baby.
I was rocking AC/DC really loud yesterday. Really loud.
Who's your favorite drummer? Because my man Chris Gray's listening to us in beautiful Nashville, great jazz player. Who's your favorite drummer?
Well, unfortunately, he died a couple of years ago. The Foo Fighters drummer was unbelievable.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, Taylor Hawkins.
Taylor Hawkins was unfriggin' real. I was a big Taylor Hawkins guy. I really liked him. Yeah, I would say, I don't know who right now, because I love Taylor Hawkins. I thought he was about as good as it gets, really.
There's so much sensibility with that instrument that.
Yeah, and it's interesting. A lot of older drummers they love Ringo Starr because he was just so solid and a little bit innovative and never got in the way of the group. I say Taylor Hawkins. Yeah.
That's a real trick in music, is not getting in the way of songs. And, people say serve the song, Hey, Higgs, we're going to serve the segment here. Tennessee is at LSU this weekend. These clubs look to me like they're about in the same spot. LSU looks like they take a step forward and 2 steps back. Weird year for them, huh?
Yeah, it's just like they got the SEC play against some really good pitching and had some problems and hadn't been, like Jared Jones is supposedly their big power hitter, best hitter, and he's been awful in SEC play. He's hitting like 254. I think he has 27 strikeouts and 19 hits. Not hitting the ball great. Their starting pitching can be very good or very mediocre. They won the Alabama series last week, and they really weren't very good. I mean, the pitching wasn't that great. Their relievers they have 3 really good relievers and 2 are outstanding. But their Friday and Saturday starters can be very iffy. Tate Anderson, who's like second in the league behind the Tennessee guy in a lot of categories, your Friday night starter. Last two outings hadn't been very good. I mean, against Alabama, against Auburn and Alabama, I think he had a 21-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, he also gave up 13 hits and 12 runs in 10 innings. And that's been a really a downer. Anthony Eisen, a transfer they got, who's their Saturday starter. He can start a game slow and all of a sudden just kick it in like he did against Alabama last week. He had 35 pitches in the first inning against Alabama. Got out of there with giving up one run, and then had like 8 strikeouts in a row, and went 105 pitches and took LSU into a good place where they could win the game. So their pitching is kind of all over the place. Their fielding has been great. They have a really good infield. They made some really good portal purchases. Daniel Dickinson, the second baseman from the Utah Valley, has been great. He's a really good portal purchase. Chris Stanfield from Auburn, who plays center field, he's been great. He's hitting like 355 in SEC play, which is like 5th in league in conference games only. He's been really good. And 2 of their best players have been freshmen. Derek Curiel, their leadoff guy, who's been on base in every game this year. He's really good. And Zach Cowan, one of their relievers, is really good. He's like a 1-point-something ERA. He's been really good. So, but again, they are kind of all over the place. And somebody just asked me about the Tennessee series this weekend, and I said I can't see Tennessee losing this series. I just don't. It's very unlike the Vols. For the Vols, they've already lost 2 of their last 3, and it's unlike them to go down the drain this bad. I just think their pitching is better than LSU's hitting. So I could see Tennessee win this series with 2 games to 1. Yeah, I could see that.
Ron, who is the LSU pitcher who looks like Tony Vitello?
Oh, that's Zach Cowan. Yeah, Zach Cowan, Cowan. If you Google him, he's ever since he grew a beard, a full beard, he looks like Tony Vitello. It's hilarious.
He better whiten his teeth up.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. We brought that to his attention. Because I've been getting that a lot. He started laughing. He's a good kid.
Tony and him. I'm gonna text
if
Tony.
If he comes to Knoxville, he would be pretty popular. That pitcher, if he came to Knoxville.
He'd probably be a really good a lot of ladies.
I'm gonna text Tony and tell him to get a side by side, man. Tony likes to laugh. Tony would laugh at that.
It's hilarious. It really is. It looks like he's his son, almost. Really. I mean, they're like if you put a picture of them side by side, you just start laughing like, oh my God. Yeah.
Tony, I was playing a gig one night, Ron. This is no joke. Brian will tell you this really happened to me. It's when you know you're getting older. This is right when the baseball season started. A guy walks up to me playing music. Okay, we're playing a gig, and he says to me, "How's your son doing?" And my son is like the mayor of the town, so I thought this guy knew my son because my son knows everybody. And he turns to and then he says, "Man, I'm really glad baseball's back. It was good to see him back in the dugout today." And I'm thinking, he's not talking about. He thought I was Tony Vitello's father. I told Vitello that, and he laughed. I mean, he got the biggest kick out of that. But Tony Vols, I'm proud to call you a son. Go ahead, Brian Hartman, jump in here.
Ron, do LSU fans see Tennessee's program in a different light now that they've won a national championship? Is there more of a respect factor in this series, do you think, coming in?
Yeah, I mean, I think they respect them before. I mean, I think they had a lot of respect for Tennessee. I mean, if you go back, since Tony showed up, they pretty much, except for the year of the national championship year when LSU, I think, and they won 4 of the 5 games they played. I mean, Tennessee's pretty much had their way with LSU, so there's a respect level there, yeah. But a lot of LSU fans, a lot of LSU fans are like Alabama football fans or Kentucky baseball fans. You win enough national championships, you feel like you invented the game, and you think nobody else can play it. It's kind of obnoxious to a point, and so it's like they look at. Some of them look at Tennessee like new money. Like, what are they doing here? What are these coming into our place? I mean, in our realm, they're not on our level. Well, maybe not traditionally, but right now, yes, they are. So you better come play. I think I know Jay Johnson has a ton of respect for Tennessee's program. The LSU players do. It's some of the and fans who come in titles or are used to winning national championships who believe like they just don't know where Tennessee came from. Well, they hired a really good guy, okay? And he can coach his butt off. And he gets good players. And he makes things a little more interesting in the SEC. I like him. I like Tony a lot. I think he just shakes things up. I like coaches who shake things up, just like I like Will Wade. He shakes things up.
God, I love me some Will Wade. I'm so glad he's back in a big spot. He's so hilarious. Moving along,
Yeah,
hey, Ron, on the way out, I know you got to go. How's the Nico thing played down there?
I think they just, well, just kind of like, really? This guy wanted a raise for doing what? Like, I think they're LSU like fans are like everybody, and like everybody else are like, why does this guy think he deserved a raise? Because the market said so? And what did he really do? I just started laughing at it. I'm like, the gall of this guy or his advisors, whoever is like telling him, they're trying to shop him around and then trying to push for a raise. And does anybody kind of realize how Tennessee got to the playoff last year? It wasn't Nico. It was your running game and your defense. And when it kind of showed up in the playoff when, your running back got hurt and they didn't do nothing.
Well, you know what I thought was interesting, guys? Chris Lowe wrote that article. And, John, I wanted to ask you about this. I was with Ron sitting here because we're all like old heads here. The father shopped him, according to Chris Lowe. This is the backstory, right? In December, SEC teams had an opportunity to get involved with him. And even crazy Kiffin didn't bite. Higgs, even crazy Lane Kiffin didn't bite. And I think the guy could have benefited under being under Lane Kiffin's tutelage, because I think Lane Kiffin's really good at reaching people. Maybe he could have reached him.
Yeah, I agree. But anybody criticizes Tennessee for what they did with the kid, I don't see it. My respect for Heupel, I liked him before, but I really liked him now. Sometimes you got to draw a line in the damn sand, okay? And I hope this guy now plays in state works out. I hope he does.
Yeah.
God, I hope he does.
Yep.
I really do.
Hey, John, what about that? The way they tried to shop him? Because I believe that, by the way. The family let it be known, and they couldn't find any takers.
Well, I think to Nico's detriment, the family. You mentioned the family. And when we say family, I think we're talking about his dad. I think a lot of college coaches. Now, if he had Arch Manning's pedigree, or maybe he'd had a season like Garrett Nussmeier did at LSU last year, and you started shopping him around, they said, okay, we really don't want to deal with that dad, but this guy is too good. We can't pass him up. I think you would have seen a completely different scenario. But I think that factored negatively for Nico. Just the idea of having to deal with the father.
Or a fellow quarterback from that class, the kid from South Carolina that kind of came out of nowhere with the rec specs and balled out and raised the level of his team. If that guy would have tried his hand in the open market, Ron, I think he'd have had some takers.
Yeah, I think so too. But, coaches they're going to pay you when you perform, and he didn't perform, so they're not going to pay him. It's pretty simple.
Higgs, love you, man.
Run, guys.
Yeah, you got to run. Love you, bro. Love you.
All right, take care. See you.
Bye. Brian was late getting to you today. Brian was late getting to you. Bad time management from Brian. What do you think, Matt? Bad time management from Brian?
Learn from the best. So, no, I got to do a little bit better there, Brian. You better screen calls really well today, Brian.
You go ahead,
Tony said off the air, Matt said off the air that Tony's management is worse than Les Miles, who was a renowned clock botcher.
John, 1 to 10 on this quarterback we've added. 1 to 10. 10 being the guy's going to be a really nice player, going to be a great player here, okay? Home run. 1 to 10. Where are you on the man that we're now referring to as Joey Football?
Why don't you just call him Joey Foosball? That would make as much sense. I would say maybe 4 or 5.
Matt Dixon, now that you've studied the film, you've heard Watson Brown talk about him yesterday, you've seen some stuff on him, you've had a chance to dig in to Joey Aguilar. Matt, where are you on him?
Yeah, like John, probably about a 5 or a 6. I think he'll be pretty decent in Heupel's offense. Probably won't wow you at all, but should put up some pretty decent numbers in most games.
I had a friend, buddy of mine, and I let him get away with it because he's a buddy of mine, and we laugh, and I'm not afraid to laugh at myself. He goes, "Tony, you're embarrassing yourself." I said, "Oh, this week, what I do this week?" He says, "First of all, he's not. Quit calling him Joey Football. That's ridiculous. And secondly, he's going to lose his job by the second half of the Georgia game to Jake Merklinger." And who knows? I like the fact that, and you heard this from Ron, I think there's going to be a sentiment around college football from those that follow it and those inside the sport that a lot of people are cheering for the Vols out of this, that the Vols are wearing the white hat in this. Now, look, there's two sides to every story, but I think this one, the more information I get, Big Nick's nuts. Big Nick's nuts. And it's going to inhibit his son's development. Does it ultimately cost his son in terms of earning potential with the NFL? I'm arguing that it's going to, because I think the kid's going to have a goofy career from here. To me, it'll be a major upset if this kid doesn't have a goofy career from here. But we've sort of talked about that ad nauseum this week. I don't want to beat a dead horse. It's not my style. As we come back with more on the other side, John Adams is in the house, presented by the great. Well, Jen, you tell us about it, Jen.
Basilio crew, Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama Zizi approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and Zizi.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. Portions of your TB show presented by Stinnett Collision, Maryville, and now in Sevierville. For 3 generations and 60 years, serving you online at StinnettCollision.com. I love this next guest, Brooks Austin. Brooks Austin just told me. Brooks, tell John Adams what you just told me, because I don't take compliments very well, but I'm going to take this one.
Dude, I'm one of the rare, I guess I'm a millennial or whatever they call the young people nowadays. I've been listening to radio, sports talk radio since like birth. I grew up in the car. Both my dad and stepdad were heavy like AM radio guys. And you have elite radio cadence, not just like the way you sound, but there's a pace to this, man. There's a layout. There's a how we transition. There's a how we talk. You have elite radio, man.
Adams, do you hear that? I'd like some love out of you every once in a while.
I complimented you earlier, Tony, and you just...
Yeah, but you didn't mean it. You were like, you're the best in the country. I'm like, yeah, whatever, John. I'm sure I'm the best in the country. You know, Brooks, you're doing something really interesting, which is you're taking your knowledge of the game and integrating it into film study and breaking down guys. And you know, the funny thing is, as Brooks Austin joins, and I'd encourage you to check out the Film Guy because you can find him over on YouTube. The great Chris Burke recommended your work to us. We were looking at it yesterday, and I want you to walk us inside the guy that we're calling. John Adams came up with this title, Joey Football.
Yeah, you guys must have a pretty big show because I've seen Joey Football pop up all in the mentions lately talking about him, and I guess you guys coined the phrase. So yeah, man, like I think I get the reason I started our show and the reason I did what I did and do what I do on YouTube is because you listen to college football coaches post game, and the very first thing they say when asked about so and so's performance is, "Well, I got to check the tape. Well, I got to check the tape. I got to go back and watch the tape." And I always thought, man, we're paying these football coaches $9, $10, $12 million a year, and their first answer after a football game with the best point of view in the entire world, right there on the sideline, their first answer is, "I got to go watch the tape." And it's not coach speak; it's the real stuff. You're not going to really find out who an individual is just looking at the box score. I call that box score scouting, right? Looking at Joey Aguilar's first year and saying, "Oh, he threw for 3,700 yards," and then year two he has a decline in yardage, right? And then you look, "Oh, we have an increase in interceptions," and you think, "Okay, that's a decline from year one to year two." And then you go look at it on tape, and you realize, okay, well, first of all, they're down 14-0 in almost every football game they have. So that would explain a little bit of the interceptions. And you start finding more answers on tape than you do questions in the box score, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I've always started with the evaluation of every athlete from a film perspective first. And I think that's how you should do it. If you know what you're looking at, if you can actually look at the film and evaluate it, you should start there and end there, really.
All right, so does that explain the high interceptions number? Because I was telling these guys, I had a little action on App State game last year, and they were down like 42-3 in the second quarter. I mean, it was like one of the. You talk about like ripping your ticket up early. That ticket was ripped up like early in the first quarter, and so my question for you is that what happened to him last year? He was just on a bad team and kind of got swallowed.
I mean, he chunked 10 of them the year before too. So I think it's half and half. To be honest with you, man, I think half of those interceptions are, all right, we got to drive the football. We got to push the ball down the field. Like, we have to be aggressive. Very much so what you heard from, like, I'm not comparing him to this guy, but people excused a lot of Pat Mahomes' collegiate interceptions away when they evaluated him because of that. Like, we have to drive the ball. We have no defense. We have to score 40 today, so that means we're going to take more risks than other people. I see half and half. I see some of those. And I'm going to excuse a lot of those away if it's 3rd and 9, if it's 4th and 2, if it's whatever the situation is, we have to push the ball down the field. But you see a lot of 1st and 10 mistakes from Joey too. Okay, so there's a lot of that too. I think he trusts himself a little bit too much. I think there's a lot of what I call competitive character. This dude's going to stand inside the pocket, guys, and take shots off the chin while taking shots downfield, giving his guys opportunities. And if you were to talk to Joey, I bet that's what he says most of his interceptions are. I'm trying to give my guy a chance, right? There's not a lot of, I didn't see the defender and I just threw it into the face mask of the defense. It's a lot of DBs breaking balls or breaking on balls that I probably shouldn't have thrown, right? I'm giving my guy too much of a chance and we ended up turning the ball away. So I do think there's some of it where we're trying to score 40 today, but I think some of it's just general mistakes of trusting yourself a little bit too much.
The Film Guy, Brooks Austin, joining us on your Thursday edition. John Adams here is presented by Jennifer Morris. Next move, SmokyMountains.com. John, Do you have a thought for the film guy?
Well, no, I respect his analysis, the fact that he works at it and looks at this guy. I think you can see things that you wouldn't see just watching a game on television. However, the 14 interceptions, regardless of the circumstances, in the Sun Belt Conference, how that might translate playing into the SEC. And Matt Dixon made a great point earlier about, I know it was your friend when he said about playing against Georgia in the third game. He's going to see more sophisticated defenses. And here's the other thing. If he had more time at Tennessee to familiarize himself with the offense, to learn Josh Heupel's system, he would have a better chance for success. I think that's going to be a real detriment to come in here. He's got to try and learn this offense in a short amount of time. I mean, even if he has great throwing ability, we've seen Joe Milton, we've seen Nico Iamaleava. They didn't thrive in this offense right away. And I think that's something you got to consider. And I also wonder about if he's got all this potential, perhaps maybe a program with more resources in UCLA might have been interested in him. I think if they were, he certainly would have considered him, because UCLA is really struggling right now and is struggling in resources, i.e. NIL.
Brooks, can you speak to this gentleman, please?
Yeah, no, I don't want to excuse away the interceptions. I think the interceptions definitely scared away the higher caliber programs that you're mentioning. So I do think there's valid to that criticism. But in terms of the transition from coming into the Tennessee offense, guys, the wide choice offense is not a difficult schematical system, okay? It is not hard to learn. What is difficult about the wide choice offense is that there are choices for the receivers to run. They have options on the what they're actually going to do on any given play, which means we have to be able to build rapport with the wide receivers that we're running routes with, right? That's the most difficult thing. I don't think Joey's going to have a problem learning the offense in the amount of time. It's developing the rapport with the wide receivers, so we're seeing the defense on the same page. I think that was the main issue that Joe Milton had, not just like the inability to be consistently accurate because we have this rocket arm that we can't quite control, but also me and my wide receivers are not on the same page. So that's the most important thing. And honestly, that's what Hendon Hooker did best. Not only did he have the best weapons, but he had the best control of the room. We're going to see the defense the same exact way because I'm going to lead us that way. You could see it on tape. They all made the same decisions at the same time, same breaks. So that's the hardest part about coming in and learning Tennessee wide choice. Like, can we get on the same page with our wide receivers? And this wide choice offense, guys, it's going to eliminate a lot of those turnovers by nature because we're getting into much more spread out formations, and defenders have to cover more ground. So it's a lot easier and cleaner of a read for quarterbacks, whereas last year, man, at App State last 2 years, he's been in a pistol offense, turning his back to the defense, throwing into really tight windows, a lot of deep crossers, a lot of deep posts. There's a lot more risky throwing of the football than what the Volunteers do under Josh Heupel, which is honestly, like, everyone's tripping about the quarterback. That's a run-based offense, guys. They run the rock. They've been top 3 in rushing yards per game and SEC rushing totals since Heupel's been there. That's what they do. That's what y'all need to focus on more so than, hey, that's why I wouldn't be paying no quarterback $4 million at Tennessee anyways.
Superstar Will Heflin, the VIP king, VIP play king. Jump in here.
I like that, Brooks. I wanted to ask two things. You kind of brought it up. What have you seen in terms of the run game? You think he'll be involved in some of the read option stuff? I know Hendon was probably used it the most compared to Milton and Nico, just pulling it and running a more true read option rather than just inside zone. And then how's his deep ball? A couple nice ones on highlight, but we don't see the full game quite like you do. Is he pretty accurate on the deep ball? Because that's a big factor in this system.
Yeah, he'll hit his layups on the deep ball. Look, this isn't a guy that's got a typical Tennessee quarterback howitzer, all right? You guys under Heupel will consistently recruit big, tall, athletic dudes that can throw it 75 yards up out the stadium. That's what he needs. That's what the quarterback position is. Look at the guys he spent the money on at the position on the recruiting trail, right? Nico fits that bill. 6'6", tall, skinny, howitzer of an arm. George McIntyre fits that bill, okay? 6'6", howitzer of an arm. All right, Faison Brandon's going to fit that bill, howitzer of an arm. I think Jake Merklinger, honestly, was a stopgap quarterback that turned into a damn good football player. I think they were kind of surprised by that, at least being from the state of Georgia, knowing what Calvary Day is, having seen Jake Merklinger through his preparatory process. I'm surprised by what Jake Merklinger has become. So I think he'll be a competitive college football player, but he's not one of these traitsy football players at the position. He plays the position. He doesn't win it with traits, okay? I think our man Joey is the same way. I don't see elite physical traits on Joey Aguilar. I see a guy who progresses through the game really, really well, plays the position like a pro, except for about 12 snaps a game, he's going to do something that makes you think his brain fell up out of his skull, and it don't make no sense. That's the problem with Joey that I think, Hype and his coaching staff are going to have to coach out of him, man. You don't have to clean that stuff up. But again, like I said, I think the system cleans up a good majority of that.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. I always think back to how Pavia looked at New Mexico State. I can't help but think back to that. They played a week 0 game against UMass a couple years ago, and I was shocked when I was like, that's who Vandy's starting, and admittedly didn't watch him a ton the rest of that year, but we'll see what Heupel and Aguilar can kind of do together. I think those two maybe having a little bit of chip on the shoulder and something to prove always has to play a factor in it.
Well, the other thing...
He's got almost 700 career dropbacks in college already through 2 seasons.
There you go.
That's valuable. It's valuable. Now, look, he's made a lot of mistakes on some of those, but he seems to have learned, and he's got, like I said, good pocket competitive character. You guys watched the big athletic quarterback last year pick and stick on read number 1, and if a defensive tackle got any pressure at all, he was running for his life. This dude is going to stand in there and give people chances. And I think that's ideal. Now, the biggest question beyond that is, like, what does Tennessee have at wide receiver? I'm sure you guys know that one a whole hell of a lot better than I do. But, hey, can Mike Matthews be what Mike Matthews is supposed to be? If he is, this quarterback's going to give that guy a chance to win.
And I'll give you one other thing, and I'm not trying to sunshine pump because it's not my nature. I mean, generally, I'm a pretty glass half empty person, because I grew up as a Philadelphia sports fan, so you're kind of trained to do that. But Brooks Austin joining us, who is the film guy, I want to encourage you to check him out over on YouTube, his channel, and then the other stuff he's doing. I'm gonna let him talk about that here momentarily. But I think sometimes less is more. I think sometimes these coaches, man, they throw too much on these kids. Tennessee did that to Nico last year. I was talking to somebody internally after the Oklahoma game, and they said, man, this guy got in the first half, and he didn't know what he was doing. And we all thought he knew what he was doing. They thought after he played NC State he knew what he was doing. They thought after they went through, kind of the parade of stiffs that all these teams do early in the season, and they thought, we're going to go on the road. This guy's going to do his thing. We're going to light Oklahoma up. Heupel's going to have a great homecoming. We're going to hit some big plays, and they had to completely abandon what they were basically for the rest of the year. And I wonder if less can be more here with this kid. They don't have time to pile it on him. What do you think?
I think the biggest thing for me watching Tennessee football last year was, Lance Hurd at left tackle was a turnstile for 6 weeks, it felt like, because he was playing on one tire. Like, he didn't have an ankle. So that didn't help. Your wide receiver core is banged up. You talking about that Oklahoma game. Didn't Dante Thornton end that football game in a cast on his left hand? Like, anytime a wide receiver's got a cast on his hand, that's not ideal. Squirrel White played with one damn arm all year.
I agree with that.
I can't tell you how many times I watched Squirrel White jog back to the huddle with his left hand hanging down by his waist because he couldn't pick his shoulder together.
Well, Matt Dixon made the point the other day, which is a great point. They kept throwing deep balls to him, and he literally looked like he was in self-defense out there because he couldn't get his arm up in the air. Like,
dude, he
what
touched
we doing?
The ground and his shoulder was dislocating.
Poor guy, man. Poor guy.
He was dealing with a dislocated shoulder. It was so clear, and he just kept fighting through it, I guess. But they have to get something and like all of it out of Mike Matthews. Whatever is available out of Mike Matthews, they gotta squeeze it.
Anybody else?
Brooks, I'm curious how much football do you watch in the regular season on game day and then on film during the week?
So game day, I'm usually covering a game. I'm on the sideline shooting photos for one of the SEC football games. But Sunday through Thursday, it is, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 hours a day. But just flipping through clips and watching as much as I possibly can. I'm obsessed with it, man. That's what I love. What I love to do. I love to watch football, talk football, and I'm blessed enough to get to do it for a living. So, I mean, I can't complain at all. I used to work construction, bro. I used to work construction. Spreadsheets and Excel sheets for a freaking living. And now I'm watching all 22 and grinding the tape for a living. I can't complain.
Hey, Brooks, last one for me.
As much as you know about Tennessee, and that's not the only school you observe, so it's impressive how much you know about Tennessee.
I appreciate it, man.
Hey, Brooks, last one for me. Give everybody kind of the ceiling comparison-wise for Joey, and then, they may not want to hear this, but give us a quick update on how Gunner's looking down there in Athens, because I haven't seen a ton, but probably not very settling for Tennessee fans. How does he look down there?
Let's start with the player comp. I get into this habit of comping players who wear a similar number, but I get a lot of Derek Carr vibes from Joey Aguilar. Like, just a good A- athlete that's going to compete his backside off with inside the pocket. That's what I got going on for Joey. In terms of Gunner Stockton, man, like, I think ideally next year for the University of Georgia, a winnable game plan looks like this. A stat line for the University of Georgia, real quick in one bullet point. Gunner Stockton goes 17 for 32, so really not high efficient, right? But he's going to be driving the ball down the field for like 310. So like 310 yards under 17 completions, because that's what their skill set says at wide receiver. They got nothing but 6'5" stretchy dudes, and then Zachariah Branch and Jacoby White. So I'm going to see a lot of verticality and a lot of like things that are right now. Give the ball to someone right now. That's what you're going to see.
Hey, by the way, on the way out here, and I appreciate your time, before I let you give out your stuff, quarterback play in the league this year, better, worse, similar? Let's go. I mean, I don't want all the quarterbacks, but just as a snapshot from 10,000 feet, 1 to 16 in the league. Where are we coming into the year?
I'm in love with several. I mean, I like them all because they can all beat you in a variety of different ways. I'll give you, my favorite is Lenoir Sellers because of rapid growth. The amount of things that dude cleaned up from week 1 to week 12 would blow your mind. I think the NFL is infatuated with him as well. Big Arch Manning guy, because he's the most talented Manning to ever exist by a mile. I think that's what people forget about Peyton and Eli. Those weren't great throwers of the football. Those are great thinkers of the game. They executed the position well. Imagine if we gave that guy a humongous arm, and by the way, made him like a 4'6'5" athlete and 6'3", 230. Like that dude's gonna be good. Okay, big DJ Lagway guy, but I think Lagway's got to see the field a whole lot better. There's a lot of, oh crap, coach, I didn't see that defender and I threw the ball to him in his face mask. Can't do that. Like, we can't not see the field correctly. But other than that, I love him. I think John Mateer is going to be a great college quarterback, especially coming over from Washington State with Ben Arbuckle. The biggest thing, man, like, he transferred over with his OC. So we go from, hey, let me learn what the Oklahoma offensive coordinator does, right? And I'm brand new here, to now I'm the vet, and everyone on the offense now looks to me because we brought my OC over. Like, that's so valuable. So I think he's going to get off to a hot start as well out there at Oklahoma. Just a kind of quick snapshot there for you.
Hey, to be the second straight year that a quarterback has brought basically his OC and philosophy with him, because it worked for Pavia. Yeah, it worked for him. It's a great I think we're going to see more of it in these power leagues. It makes complete sense. Why would I bring you in and teach you a new deal when I can bring you in and bring the guy with you, and you were successful down there?
Not only that, why in the hell would I pay you $1.2 million to come over here and not pay your OC $900K?
Exactly. That's exactly right. Hell. You're speaking. So now that you've dropped the truth on us, and you're telling me Tennessee has basically landed on their feet here with the man that we're calling Joey Football, which I think is a very good fair nickname for this kid at this point in time. At least till we see him, and then we get angry with him, and then we can strip him of his nickname. But for now, he gets his nickname. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, on social media, any social media, at Brooks Austin BA. And you guys have already plugged the YouTube channel. Look, man, we talk all things college football, and I think we do it really, really well from a place of passion, okay? You can find us at the Film Guy Network over there on YouTube. Boys, I appreciate y'all having me on, man. Y'all have good luck this season. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
I have a Doc Gooden. Many happy returns. We'll bring you back, brah. Thank you.
See ya.
Anybody that tells me I'm elite, John, I can tell you right now, Brian Hartman gets a call later on, and it's book this dude.
Yeah, I expect you to have him on every week now.
I'm thinking about it, Brooks.
He'll be talking SEC baseball.
Your thoughts around the room here of what he had to say. Matt, make you feel better, worse, or about the same about what we've gotten in here with Joey Aguilar, what we've gotten into?
About the same. There's some potential there, and you like some of the upside there. You just got to, see how he meshes in with the offense, and then really got to. A lot of it depends on the pieces around him too, that are still kind of major question marks, especially at the skill positions. But it'll be a lot of fun to see how it develops and see that potential that it can that they might reach.
I wanted that San Jose big play wide receiver. Tennessee looks like they swung and missed on him. Can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes. Hey, John, your take after Brooks' appearance.
Well, I do think, and I said it to him, and Brooks obviously, he knows way more about Tennessee football than most people outside of the Tennessee realm do. I was impressed by how much he knows about Tennessee's team. He's very invested in this. A couple of things come up when he was talking about. One thing he mentioned about how well Tennessee runs the ball under Heupel. That's the thing about Heupel. His offenses did that at UCF as well. In Missouri, he had a really good running game when he was offensive coordinator, and he ran the offensive show. It wasn't like the head coach was involved that much in offense. He did the whole thing. So those were indicative of his offenses. And then you've seen it at Tennessee. I'm confident Tennessee will run the ball well again next season. I think when you run the ball that well, you run it even better when you have a quarterback who can run. And we saw that with Hendon Hooker. I thought Nico would be a better runner than he was, so we really didn't see that with him. I would like to see, and he mentioned this too, and the track record bears it out. Josh Heupel likes these big arm quarterbacks who can stretch the field and can make that line drive throw to the outside that gives receivers time to catch and make a move. However, I think his offense would function best with maybe not as strong an arm, but a guy who's athletic and can make plays with his legs. Hendon Hooker didn't have a great arm, but he was accurate and he could run. And I think that's more of what Tennessee needs. And when Tennessee was shopping under duress, was shopping for a quarterback after Nico departs, that's the kind of quarterback I was thinking it would go after and maybe try to get. I like the guy at Kansas State from that perspective, Avery Johnson, but he's enamored with these strong arm quarterbacks. But go back to Hendon Hooker. Josh Heupel wanted Joe Milton, who could throw it over the moon. But Hendon Hooker is the one that was a successful quarterback and the starter over Milton.
How weird would it be if this kid runs his offense better than the kid they hand-selected? I mean, it would be such a weird... It would kind of fit the narrative. And I don't know what the narrative is. When we come back, I'm going to get Will Heflin's thoughts because Superstar Will's in the house today. Brian Hartman's, I want to get their thoughts, and then we'll take some phone calls. Your thoughts on what we just heard from Brooks Austin, who tells us. And then I want John to make sense of the last couple weeks, historically speaking, because I felt like we just went through a coaching search. I'll be really honest with you. Because, like, people are at each other's throats over this, and everybody's, a little angry, and I've been, like, really on edge and been kind of a prick toward people, and what else is new, and, This kind of thing brings out the best in all of us, if you will. As a buddy of mine was yelling at me last night that I'm a total embarrassment. Let's take a brief time out. We come back with more on the other side after this.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
It's the hottest postgame show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we've got Chad Stockton with FC Alliance. Chad?
Well, I'm up in Johnson City, Tennessee with our FC Alliance North location that we started this past fall. We are doing well. We kickstarted the spring season with games this past weekend, and we've got more games coming up the next few weeks. So we're excited about what the springtime holds for us. Our girls' ECNL is also into the middle of their spring season. They hosted a huge weekend this weekend coming from Pittsburgh and New York, the teams they hosted. Good results, hard teams they played all weekend long. We've got such a focus on skill development and focusing on what's the right way to play for our kids. As we continue to grow, we're expecting our programs to continue to grow like they have been the past few years. Our tryouts are coming up in late May. For the U12 and under, it's the middle of May, and then for the older kids, it'll be late May. But we're expecting to grow not only in Knoxville, but also in Johnson City.
And if you want more information, you can see what Chad's talking about and hear those kids and get involved. It's FCAllianceKnox.org. Again, FCAllianceKnox.org. Hey, Chad, thanks, man. Many happy returns, my brother.
Thank you, Tony.
Listen up, baseball fans. It's time to step up to the plate and get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Don't you dare swing and miss by shopping elsewhere. Alumni Hall has the best selection, top brands for you to choose from. Shop in store, 3 Knoxville locations, or Bristol or Murfreesboro. Anytime online, anywhere in the world at alumnihall.com. Come grab your Tennessee baseball jerseys. Incredible. Oh, Coach Vitello's jersey, hats, decals, t-shirts, and so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 spent. Shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Go Vols from Alumni Hall. Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow, I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting because every customer counts, and I mean no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you, not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. If you listen to the show, you know I'm passionate about people among us that get up every day and make our community better. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Stinnett Collision in Maryville and now Sevierville. For 3 generations and 60 years, Stinnett Collision in Maryville and now Sevierville are making it better. Founded on integrity and customer satisfaction, Stinnett Collision is a family business that for 3 generations has a family tradition of treating customers, well, like family. Simply put, when you trust your vehicle to Stinnett Collision, the job is going to be done right to your satisfaction. A lifetime warranty covers our workmanship. Couple our family ethos with Stinnett Collision's highly trained technicians with a major emphasis on education and industry trends, and you have a winning combination. Stinnett Collision uses the most up-to-date tools and equipment available. Plus, we're OEM certified in most manufacturers, including Tesla and Rivian. Stinnett Collision, celebrating our 60th year of serving East Tennessee. See more of our story at StinnettCollision.com. Thank you, East Tennessee, for trusting us at Stinnett Collision.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather and Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather and Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather and Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Your next opportunity to see your Knoxville Smokies in the brand new Covenant Hill Park is next week. And what a week it is. Great promotions every night, including honoring our healthcare workers, one of our favorites, Star Wars night, and get all dressed up for halfway to Halloween. But this park, you gotta check it out. Get your tickets now at smokiesbaseball.com.
Ward Dumpsters, your local and veteran-owned dumpster rental company, has 12 and 15-yard dumpsters for week-long and weekend specials. Spring cleaning, remodeling, or yard cleanup, reach out to Ward Dumpsters today at warddumpsters.com.
T to the B back with you. It's unbelievable. Andy Mack, as we're back on hour number 2. It's pretty incredible. Blessed to be joined by the great thrill that is Will Heflin, who is now hosting Garza Law, Tennessee Baseball Extra Innings, after each series finale in Southeastern Conference play right through postseason baseball, which it'll be interesting to see if it's a long run for the baseball team, short run in the postseason, who knows. All these years seasons come in shapes and sizes. And which I love about Tony is he's so honest. He said, look, if we didn't get luck last year, we would not have won the College World Series. He said, I will readily admit that. So who knows? But Will's going to be here with you, and he's grooming and growing like a weed. And then we'll go to Will, then Brian, because we just had on a gentleman who blessed us with his time, a guy that really knows a lot about radio talent and ability, Brooks Austin. Not only does he know quarterbacks, but he knows a whole hell of a lot about radio talent and the art of doing whatever it is in the Rainier studio we're doing today. Will Heflin.
Tony, do you think he might have a dry sense of humor?
Will, we were talking. He was sharing with us about Joey Aguilar and kind of breaking him down. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a sharp guy for sure, and a clear ball knower, as they say nowadays. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about arm strength and the stats at App State and his height, weight, 40 time all summer. And all that's fine. It all matters. But one thing that's you can't put a value on until we get to the end of the deal is, for one, coming from App State, and it wasn't just the Michigan game in the early 2000s. That's a program that plays up in big-time environments, and nobody ever wants to see, because they'll look a little shaky at times, but then they'll turn around. Like North Carolina could not get away from them for a couple years. And just the whole way it played out for him, going to UCLA, and then basically just getting told, yeah, thanks, but no thanks, we've changed our mind. Getting this opportunity here. Those type of things, the game has a way of working itself out, and it's just hard for me to not think at some point during this year there will be an extremely fulfilling moment, and maybe it's a perfect fit and a really, really good story, and by the end of the thing it'll be worth a 30 for 30, something like that. Because, I mean, it just happened. It was a whirlwind. It just happened. We really got to sit back and be like, how in the world did this guy end up at this program? And when you think about how it actually played out, how could it not go well for him?
John, you're a columnist. I mean, this is what stories are all about. This is what we're all doing. You know, column writing and doing talk radio to people that pay attention are pretty much similar. You're dealing with public sentiment. You're dealing with your take. And we all love a good story, John. This is a really, I mean, like Will's saying, this thing sets up to be a very intriguing story.
Well, yeah, and you also can contrast it. We talked about this on air before the show in our prep meeting. Iamaleava goes, he's the acclaimed, the $2 million quarterback, goes to UCLA. I think he's going to be a part of the story. It will, if for a maybe movie, it would be a split screen with Nico on one side and Joey Aguilar on the other.
Yep.
And I think the general populace will pull for the Joey Aguilar story and for Nico not to be as successful. We all like the underdog. And Joey Aguilar is the underdog because, as Will pointed out, he's the one. UCLA brought him in as quarterback. I mean, think of the roller coaster ride he's been on. You go from App State to UCLA. Not a great program, obviously, but it played better at the end of the year. 500 type team, 6-5 and 7. You go from App State struggling on a bad Sun Belt Conference team, and now you're on the West Coast. You're in Hollywood. You're at UCLA. This is a Hollywood type story. And then all of a sudden, no, we don't really want you here. We're going to bring in this high-priced dude. And so you're left out there. And then Tennessee, a better program than UCLA, acquires you. So it is a really good story, but there could be twists and turns to this story. And the twists and turns could be, don't forget about Jake Merklinger, who's more familiar with this offense and who's not just a nobody as a quarterback, from what I've heard.
Nice player.
That he does have potential.
No, he's a nice player. But the thing about the Nico thing, too, is that everybody wants to, look, I'm going to root against Nico just because I don't want to see his father succeed, but I feel sorry for the kid. Because the more I hear about this and the more people I talk to, this is father's production. And for the father to go out and spin to Chris Lowe, and Chris go right what you're going to spin, because Chris is doing, this is each side. But for them to spin, hey, this is Nico's decision. It's about Nico's decision as much as it was the younger brother, his decision to leave Arkansas. I mean, come on. If the Nico kid had his way, he would still be here. This wasn't his deal. Look, I was talking to somebody close to their family today, okay? I'm just going to share this with you. I'm not going to get too into the weeds with this. But this person's like, my heart breaks for this kid because it was not his idea. It was not. Like, none of this was his idea. This did not have to happen. But this kid has talent, talking about Nico, and he's been taken on the ride. And like Will was talking about, we're going to now compare and contrast. And the real question is, and we had a UCLA guest on yesterday, Dixon. I mean, how is Nico going to look out there with the supporting cast around him in a pretty good league, Matt? That's a pretty good league. It's not like he's gone to going to go down and play in a lesser league, in a G5 league. He's going to play some big boys next year, Matt. I feel sorry for Nico. I'm sorry. After hearing what I've heard in the last 24 hours, I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to, and I think he's going to struggle a lot out there. He's got less to work with out there than he would have here. new offense, a first-time OC, playing a Big Ten schedule. I mean, I think he's going to really struggle. I really think this. I mean, I don't know how likely he was going to reach potential here, but he almost certainly isn't going to come close to that at UCLA. And I really think this might really put the end to his career of being like some long-term NFL quarterback type. I mean, maybe he was never going to be that, but he almost certainly is not going to do that playing at UCLA and developing.
See, I agree with that. I think he's going to get the goofy career label on him. Now, maybe he comes out and has a huge year and they rock it. And maybe that's what happens. Maybe karma isn't real. I feel sorry for the kid, though. I'm telling you right now, I feel sorry for some of the stuff I've heard. I feel the father is completely out of control. No offense to him. Completely out of control.
Tony, do you think, if not for the father, if Nico, this had just been, not a micromanager of a dad, but just some father who wasn't really involved in all this, do you think Southern Cal would have been interested in Nico?
Boy, I don't know. I talked to that guy yesterday that was on with us and who dipped his toes at one time in the Southern Cal thing. And he basically said Southern Cal had zero interest. So I can't say if you take the father out of the equation, because I go back to something that Brooks Austin said, which is Nico just he didn't really distinguish himself last year on the football field. I'm back to this. Chris Lowe did, that they were shopping him in the winter and they got Miami moderately interested in him. But the rest of these SEC teams were not. They were not. Now, some would say, and I wrote this today in the blog to be fair, at the asking price that they wanted. I'm sure at $1 million, there are several SEC teams that would have played at what UCLA ended up coming in at. Because at $1 million, I could put you over there and let you be my backup at $1 million. At a with the budget some of these schools have.
It's kind of difficult in a way to judge Nico in his one season here as a starter because of the supporting cast.
Yep.
The offensive tackle play was abysmal. The receivers were just pedestrian on their best days. So when you're looking at that impeded his growth rate. However, you also look at it from the other side and say, well, maybe the receivers were getting open a little more and Nico was slow to recognize that, or it could have been a combination. But we really saw that come to fruition in the Ohio State game, where there was no separation from Ohio State's elite secondary, and we just saw Nico holding the ball, and then running.
Well, you know what? And the other thing is, if you had argued with me, like we'd have had a conversation, because Will and I were talking about this. If you had argued with me, hey, the best thing for him is to get him out of here. They should have gotten him out of here in December.
There's no doubt about that.
But you don't
that
shop
would
your
have
kid
worked
for
out
money.
better for everybody if he'd have gotten out in December.
But you don't shop your kid for money. When you shop your kid for money, John, that's the thing. It's like, hey, I want opportunity for my son. I don't want to get him killed. My son's an NFL football player. If I keep him at Tennessee, he's going to get killed. You'd have credibility with me. But when you're shopping him for a $4 million payday, what are you really doing? What do you mean? To me, you're not treating your son like a real asset because you're worried about money now. You should be worried about protecting him now. Let's get him in a spot like Ohio State. Will Howard didn't get hit. Hey, I'd respect that. I would say, okay, that makes complete sense to me. None of it washes with me. None of what the father did washes to me, John.
Well, and also think about it from Tennessee's perspective. Tennessee's options were limited in the spring, with other quarterbacks, because the other quarterbacks having to take quite a leap of faith. He's got to look at okay, I got to learn a new offense. I know their receivers aren't proven. And so in last December, though, they could go through spring ball.
Yep.
And I think Tennessee's resources, it's NIL money, the idea of playing in the SEC is meaningful for a guy who wants to play in the NFL. If you can I know you talk about Big 10 and Big 12, those aren't slouches of conferences, but they still aren't as good, even though the Big Ten's had the last 2 national championships. I don't think anybody believes that its depth of talent in the league among the teams is the same as the SEC. So there's a real attraction to come to Tennessee, but that attraction was in December. And I think those quarterbacks you were saying Tennessee was pursuing all of a sudden this spring on a fast break situation, they might have been much more apt to come to Tennessee in December.
You know, that's a really interesting thing. Will, do you think, let's say Nico and his dad would have walked out of here in December, okay? Because I think it might be like these head coaching positions when they open up, and then you're kind of surprised how few people are interested in your job. I mean, you're talking about something in a vacuum that we've never seen. And I wonder if we overrate who we could have attracted, or maybe I'm underrating it, or maybe it's like none of us know. What's your sense of that, Will Heflin?
Those 3 months, 4 months, call it, difference between transferring in December and coming in and having the spring as a quarterback, being able to transfer within the conference. There's no telling what sweepstakes Tennessee would have been a part of. If they would have gotten out of here before, I mean, the first guy I would have loved to at least take a shot at would have been Mateer, who we talked about, who's going to ball out at Oklahoma.
Yep.
I like him a lot, but you just have no idea who would have been involved in those sweepstakes. It doesn't even necessarily have to be the names that moved, like Carson Beck going to Miami or Mateer or anybody else, but if you've got December to work with, there's less restrictions on the portal. You got a little bit more time, and you've got, you can come in and learn the system in the spring. Guys are much more open to that. Right?
Hey Matt, do you think they would have been able to attract a big timer, or could they been in a similar? Not obviously they wouldn't have been in a similar spot. I'm not going to suggest that. But would they have gone through, 7, 8, 9 guys? What's your sense of it, Matt?
No, they would have probably focused on 2 or 3 and gotten one of those top targets. No, they would have found a much better quarterback. It wouldn't have been hard to find a quarterback that would want to play in Heupel's scheme. Even though there are some questions about the receivers and then the offensive line. Now, I don't think it would have been hard at all to find a pretty decent quarterback.
I just can't get over that. Go ahead, John.
Will makes a really good point when he brings up John Mateer's name. I really like him. I think he's going to elevate Oklahoma's offense immediately and significantly. I think he would have found Tennessee's situation appealing because that guy can run. And I just really like him as an option for Tennessee, but it was of course too late. He was already gone. But you look at what Oklahoma had a postseason in the portal that Tennessee kind of needed to have.
The thing about Mateer is, could you have extricated him from his coordinator? Because I think that was a sweetener. I think Oklahoma went and got his coordinator and used that to attract him. Josh Heupel's not going to do that. He's just not. That Halsley guy.
And he's not in the same position as Brent Venables either. Brent Venables, his job is on the line.
Desperation. Yep. It's the same thing with Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly went and signed half the world because he knows. If I don't win down here, these crazy Cajuns are storming my castle at the end of the year. We'll go to the phones. So I want to hear from you. And we were talking with our guest last hour, Brooks Austin. look, we had yesterday in here. It was great to see Watson Brown and to hear Watson Brown unpack this acquisition by Tennessee. Watson got on the phone with a couple of his former players who competed against him at that level. And then his brother. He said he also talked to his brother about him. So Watson did some homework for us. And Watson came to similar conclusions that Brooks Austin came to, which is, hey, this guy's going to compete. This guy's going to stay in the pocket, and this guy's going to throw the ball up. Now, sometimes you're going to love the results, and sometimes you're going to look at him and go, why in the hell did you just throw that ball? But he's going to compete, and he's not afraid to run with the ball. So, the fact that he's going to show a little moxie and toughness back there, hey, if the guy can play at all, he's going to be a fan favorite here. This kid is going to turn into not only a fan favorite, but he's a guy that college football is going to be rooting for. Tennessee is going to be a team that college football is going to be rooting for because of what this family's pulled on Tennessee. And look, it takes two to tango. I'm not going to sit here and say Tennessee is completely perfect and blameless in this because they're not. I wrote that today in the blog, but Tennessee's going to wear the white hat in this. Whether they deserve to wear the white hat or not, they're going to wear the white hat in this deal. As we go to the phones on your TLD Logistics phone line, hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Stay right there. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, man, listen, man. I used to admire him. I still admire him, but Mr. Adams, that analogy about the guy that won a lot of money. Nico wasn't the guy that won a lot of money. It was his daddy won a lot of money. Hell, y'all gave him $2 million. That was for 4 years. But listen, bro. Y'all in trouble.
Hey, Florida, our previous guest said your quarterback has trouble reading the field a little bit there, bro.
Hey, as a freshman. Hey, this guy's a freshman, bro. And like I said, when he coming out this year, let's see what he say this year. You know what I mean? You taking what he saw last year.
He said Lagway was having trouble reading the field, man. I'm not,
Okay, I understand that. But what if he's working on that? What if he's working on that? Just like y'all didn't give Nico a chance to work on anything, but his daddy probably one of the stupidest dudes I ever seen. You know what I mean? To take him out of here. But hey,
it's sad,
if y'all
man.
knew he was bad, why was y'all signing him to $2 million? Hell, y'all must got $2 million to just give away. But now since he's gone, y'all bad mouthing him. Come on, bro.
John, how do you plead? Florida used to have a lot of respect for you, John.
Well, respect comes and goes. I really didn't hear I had a hard time understanding him. I don't know if he borrowed Titans' phone. And of course, I have great respect for Florida, particularly as a rapper. Historical confrontation with the rapper Andy.
Hey, Bill, are you in Florida in the same room? Is he using your phone right now?
No, I'm in a different room.
Go ahead, Florida.
It's the phone. It's the phone operator. It's the phone operator. I'm not saying that I admire Mr. Adams, but guess what? He's wrong about that analogy that Nico wanted all this money. Y'all wrong about that. The guy that wanted a lot of money, he didn't want a lot of money. And if y'all knew what how he played last year, and y'all knew he wasn't really getting it, why didn't y'all say that last year when he took you to the daggum playoffs? Why y'all didn't say that last year? But this is a love-hate with the NIL, bro, that y'all doing what y'all doing. Now he chose to leave Tennessee. Y'all hate him.
That's not true, man.
I don't hate him.
I don't hate him at all.
And
I don't hate anybody.
I pointed out in my column that let's not forget when we talk about bringing in a new quarterback, Nico. It's popular now to bash him in East Tennessee and among Tennessee's fan base. But he led Tennessee. I know he wasn't, the main reason Tennessee made the playoff. But you can't have a playoff team with a total disaster playing quarterback. Nico did do some good things. The issue I had with Nico, and part of this is on me, because I his being a different type quarterback. and I thought he would be a star, immediate star, just based on what I saw flashes of his freshman year. So I overestimated him, his ability. But I still think he's got an NFL arm. He can make throws that I don't think half the players, quarterbacks in the NFL can make. When you watch him throw that deep set out on a line, I mean, not that many guys can do that. But there's a lot else that is involved, obviously, in playing quarterback, and I wonder about that now. When I just thought he was going to be an instant star.
Yeah, me too.
So I was wrong in overrating him.
Yep.
But I'm not saying he's garbage now at all.
Nope.
But I think UCLA is a really bad landing spot for him. I think he would be better off maybe in a lesser conference, but with a better offense.
Hey, Florida, I feel sorry for the kid because his father has really thrown his career over a barrel right now. Sad, man.
I agree with that, but Tony B, the way you were on, y'all done overestimated every last quarter.
Oh, I totally blew. I embarrassed myself with the Nico thing last year. Totally embarrassed myself. No doubt about it.
Oh, yeah. It had me thinking, he don't know his ass from a hole in the ground. He's just saying stuff just to make Tennessee just look good. But guess what, Tony B? You have to own it.
I own it. Hey, I got no problem owning it, Florida. I got no problem owning it.
Hey, look here, if you want me to have accountability, Tony B, on myself, you got to have accountability on yours, too.
Hey, Florida, if it makes you feel better, I own it. By the way, who won the Tennessee-Florida game last year? I forgot. I forgot what the score was.
Huh?
What was that?
You won't win it this year. You won't win it this year.
Huh? We're having trouble. Huh?
And we can make a bet, too. We can have a bet. That's how you shut people up. Just make a bet.
Make a what?
A bet. A B-E-T. Bet. Not Black Entertainment Television. A bet. A monetary bet.
Hey, Florida, it's funny you'd say that. VIP Will, tell me about it on the TLD Logistics phone lines. VIP Will's about to get out of here. He'll be in here Sunday following the season finale of Tennessee LSU.
Thanks for the bridge. Florida, want to make a bet? You can do it. VIP play. Hey, May 7th, the app is orange, Tony B. That might be okay around here. 21 plus, terms and conditions always got to be in Tennessee to bet. Please be responsible, all that good jazz. The app looks good. I don't know if I've said that before.
Could me and Florida make our bet there? Could we get a little action here, as the great Elton John once said, on Saturday's All Right for Fighting?
Look, this isn't betting advice, but if you can get a better price from Florida than you can from Vegas, then take the bet from Florida. I think you got to shop around a little bit. That'd be my advice, but it's not advice.
Smokey Robinson wrote that one. My mama told me you better shop around. Hey, see you, brother. You won't see the tracks of my tears. You're the man. I love you. Thank you, brah.
Need 2 out of 3 this weekend.
2 out of 3. We're going to deliver. Matt, are you calling the shot? 2 out of 3, Matt, your game preview tomorrow? Are you calling the shot here, Matt? 2 out of 3. And will the Vols beat up on Tony Vitello Jr. when he starts? Oh, he doesn't say he's a reliever. My bad.
The expectation every weekend is to win 2 out of 3.
Hey,
I think they should.
Weirdest thing about the way these two teams have gone, I think that's their 9-hitter, Matt, that's hitting like 350 in league play. Is that accurate? I think.
Yeah, Stanfield, the transfer from Auburn. Yes.
How bizarre is that?
The rest of their lineup's really struggling right now.
I mean, when you're 9 hitters, your leading hitter. College baseball can be such a weird sport sometimes, such a weird game. Hey, Florida, thank you, man, for the call. Great call today. TLD Logistics phone line. We're going to go back to our phones. John Adams, I'm trying to make sense of what we've been through the last couple weeks, and I don't know that there is making sense of it. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony, it's Zach up here in Elizabethtown. What is up?
Welcome in, brother.
Hey, first off, Florida, he would be trashing Nico if he was still the quarterback of Tennessee. He's just what they call a concern troll. He's trying to make everyone feel negative about something that he actually hates, which is, anything positive at Tennessee. So if Nico was still here and there was, he was like throwing bombs at the Orange game, he'd be, he wouldn't be here. So he's a concern troll. And I appreciate him for his efforts. But I was just looking online here while I had some time, and somebody else, there's a DB that's entered the portal.
Jacoby Thomas.
Yeah, is that a big blow to the secondary? I mean, now that's two guys, right? That's two starters that we've lost.
Hey Matt, no, that's not a starter. The other kid that went into the portal was not a starter. Matt, what's your sense of his prospects of playing this fall and the loss therein? Because they lost a way down the depth chart DB a couple weeks back. Matt, go ahead.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Jacoby Thomas.
Jacoby Thomas
just went into the portal just a second ago.
I mean, I thought he was definitely going to be one of in your rotation and your secondary potential starter. I guess. I mean, that's kind of maybe not significant loss, but I mean, you'll definitely feel it because he was going to play a bunch of snaps for you.
Yeah, I think it affects their depth. Also, though, it could be, I guess if you really want to be optimistic about it as a fan, you could look at it, well, another player he's not going to be the starter, that he felt he was being beaten out.
Yeah.
And he wants to transfer where he can get more playing time. Sometimes the portal works that way, too. But Matt's right, though. You're losing bodies back there. So if you get an injury, then you're dropping down a notch. And so the loss would be magnified.
I think that's a perfect example of, and I'm not saying this happened with him, but wouldn't surprise me. Somebody reached out that's been beating the bushes trying to get somebody in that could play. And they've probably been working a list, and they arrived at him.
So he was an option almost, like,
and have some money, and somebody has some money for him. I don't think there's any question. Look, if you want to tell me you go into the portal like after the spring game, that makes sense because you know your spot, like what happened a couple weeks ago with the other kid that went in. But when you go into the portal now, it's almost like because it's getting ready to close, so it's almost like somebody's contacted you. And, hey, we've struck out on some other dudes. You're next on the mic. I got a bag for you. Let's go. So it wouldn't surprise me if you see where he ends up pretty quickly. And I'm not saying that's exactly what's going on there, but that's what it feels like from here to me.
So so this portal closes this week, and basketball closes. Is it?
It already closed.
Is it okay, so they're already closed.
Basketball closed Tuesday.
Okay, and then so Kentucky spent $20 million. Is that what I'm hearing?
Kentucky has spent like drunken sailors. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, this is fun. I enjoy this. This is.
You enjoying it? You enjoying it?
It's great for 1 year. I think we'll all be fatigued. I mean, I know people are tuning in. It's been hard to get through. Like I've been calling on lunch, and which is good. I know for you, but it is fatiguing, and I think. Long term, it could be a detriment on the positive side. On the positive side, Tony, the Braves have won some games. They're playing up here in Bristol, and they've just added a Tim McGraw concert before the game. You think they're having any trouble selling tickets? Anyways, come on up here and get you some Tim McGraw and Braves baseball in August.
Hey, when you play,
chill at the house.
Because when you play Tim McGraw, great song by Taylor Swift. Back in her old country days, her Mountain Soul country days. Darius Adams in Tennessee are, speaking of the portal, they're having a Zoom meeting. 5-star guard, John. Tennessee's under the gun right now. They got to find somebody. And Darius Adams is next on the mic. He's a number 3 prospect. He decommitted from UConn in April, and the reason he decommitted from UConn is he lost his spot there. They brought somebody in that's deemed better than him.
Well, I think Tennessee has proved that it's willing to spend money.
Wow.
And, in basketball, we've seen Rick Barnes do a really nice job of this. We've talked about it from one year to the next, how he's pinpointed guys in the portal. He had 3 transfers start on a team that made the Elite Eight this past season. So Tennessee gets another guy. I would bet on Tennessee getting a guard because I think it's willing to pay for one.
It's Tennessee. It's NC State. It's Michigan State's involved with him. He's a 6'5" shooting guard. And look, he could be the next up. I mean, that'd be a pretty good landing spot for Tennessee. The problem with him is, and negative, close your ears, but I was made a few phone calls on him last night. He's not known as being a great outside shooter. He's more of a shot maker. Think about Dalton Knecht, Matt, around the rim. That's what I hear with him. He's more of a shot maker, shot creator than he is a long-range shooter. So, I mean, there's a place for a guy like that. Yeah.
Well, I wonder about Arkansas's freshman, Boogie Flan, that just entered the portal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an off-ball guard.
He's a complete headache.
Could Tennessee make a run?
Matt, could you imagine Boogie Flan here playing for Barnesy?
No.
No,
I don't think that'd be a great fit. This guy, you said he got recruited over it by UConn?
The word is that he did not like a guy they brought in because he thought he was going to take a spot. Yes.
Oh, okay. Because it's kind of weird for
kind
a guy
of portal
to
movement
decommit that's this highly ranked.
That's right.
Late in the cycle.
But that's what UConn's doing, and that's what he deemed. You know what it's like? It's like the Freeman kid who was going to sign with the Vols, and then he decided, hey, I'm going to go to Auburn. When Freeman kid told Tennessee he was coming, and that's why I was talking the way that I was about him. He was coming. But, hey, Pearl's smooth, man. And the truth is, the Vols were going to get the number 3 player in America, and that kid was not going to start over him. So, anyway, it's all pretty interesting. 865-200-5402 is the number. If you want to get in the mix with us on the programma, we'd love to hear from you. Let's do this. A brief timeout, and then we continue with more on the other side after this.
Guests appear on the TLD Logistics Hotline. Online at TLDLogistics.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Peace of mind is priceless, especially when it comes to your home safety and your family's comfort. That's why the pros at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling created the Peace of Mind Maintenance Plan. Preventative maintenance for HVAC and plumbing is like changing your vehicle's oil, and experts recommend scheduling regular system checks to keep everything running smoothly. With Peace of Mind, you can safeguard your home from unexpected costly breakdowns and repairs. You'll get tons of benefits, including full system checks on HVAC and plumbing systems, water heater flushes, sewer camera inspection, 10% automatic discount on repairs, priority bookings, no service fees, and much more. Monthly service plans are as low as $20.25 per month, and total annual services are valued at over $1,500. Call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to sign up or schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free.
Life never stops moving, And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our gold bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Tony B here with the great Zakai Ziegler for
Advent. Hey, whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. Basilio here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com. Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Ward Dumpsters, your local and veteran-owned dumpster rental company, has 12 and 15-yard dumpsters for week-long and weekend specials. Spring cleaning, remodeling, or yard cleanup. Reach out to Ward Dumpsters today at warddumpsters.com.
Portions of your TV show presented by Stinnett Collision, Maryville and now in Sevierville. For 3 generations and 60 years, serving you online at StinnettCollision.com. I got to go back to our phones at 865-200-5402. I got to get Bill in here. Let's get our next call in. Hello, Bill. Welcome in. You're on the air. Man, he left us. Huh? All right, let's get our next call in on your TLD Logistics phone line. I'm sure Bill wanted to talk about tonight's draft. Bill, will they or won't they, brother? Will they or won't they with that first pick tonight? Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Tony?
Wingzo. What's up, Wingzo?
Not much. Just getting ready for this draft tonight.
Nice. What are the Titans going to do? Will they or won't they?
I'd say it's definitely LOCK that they're going to take Mr. Cam Ward from Miami.
Are you high on the pick? What kind of NFL player is Cam Ward in your mind?
I think the other night when me, you, and Mr. C were breaking it down scientifically, I think the kid can play. I think he's going to be a nice pick.
John Adams, what's your take on Cam Ward in the NFL?
I like Cam Ward a lot. I think he'd be a good pick for anybody.
Yeah. So, John, what do you think about the NFL? It only takes a quarterback for you to turn the franchise around. All you need is like a quarterback in the draft. Don't you agree?
I think you need an offensive line that will protect him. David Carr's name came up a while back.
Yeah.
I think it was a comparison to Joey Football, as Tony calls him, also known as Joey Aguilar. David Carr, I thought, had everything you needed to be successful in the NFL. He went to a franchise that had, in the Texans, that had no offensive line. I mean, it was horrible. He got beat up, and after a few years, he wasn't the same guy anymore. Peyton Manning, comparatively, he had a rough first season, but Indianapolis invested in an offensive line.
Sure
if
did.
you're going to get a marquee quarterback, you better shoot for a marquee offensive line and then worry about the defense later. When you remember about the Colts, their defense wasn't great, but they did have the offensive line, and they could protect their franchise guy in Peyton Manning. So for Cam Ward, I know he's athletic, and when I watched him last year, what I liked so much about him, he makes plays under duress. He's accurate on the run, and that's something Jaden Daniels could do. And you've seen him do it. You saw him do it as a rookie this past year. But I don't know what is the Titans' offensive line like. I don't watch the Titans.
It's average. It's average.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a problem.
To your point, Kansas City was not going to let Trey Smith walk. They just franchised him, and then they're going to work on a multi-year deal with him because, look, they will put average receivers around Mahomes, but they will not put an average offensive line around him.
Well, go back to when Mahomes played in that Super Bowl against Tampa Bay, and they had their two offensive tackles out.
Yep.
Remember what a disaster that was?
Yes.
Mahomes survived. Give him credit for hanging in there and surviving. He's really adept at avoiding injuries. But, yeah, he was running for his life in that game. You have that below-average offensive tackles in the NFL. Your quarterback is imperiled.
Going to get somebody hurt.
It's touch and go.
Yep.
Tony, I think Travis Hunter is going to go to the Cleveland Trash Browns, and I think Ashton Genty is going to be a top 5 pick tonight. What do you think?
That's wild. It's wild to see. We don't have a tremendous crop of quarterbacks that we've had in years past.
It's a bad quarterback draft.
Yep. So we'll see what happens. One thing's for sure, Howie Roseman's going to make a really good pick somewhere in that draft.
Yes, he is. Yes. So what do you think about this guy who decommitted from UConn? Do you think Tennessee has a really good chance to sign him?
I mean, they're zooming with him. They feel like they've got a chance, but again, you got no relationship established with somebody.
Right.
You're taking a flyer on him. How much money are you willing to spend? That's what it comes down to. They would have gotten Rodney Rice if all things were equal, but Rodney Rice got bought out right out from under them.
Is this guy a 4 or 5-star that they're trying to get?
This guy's a 5-star basketball player.
5-star.
Yeah.
And I know Michigan State is in on him as well.
Yes. Yeah, there's some who's who players involved with this kid. I hear he's not a great shooter. He's more of a shot maker, shot creator than he is a great outside shooter. So I think he would fill a need for them on the wing. But I still think this team needs a little more shooting.
Well, if we do get this Darius Miles, you can definitely mark it down that we are going to go to a Final Four if we get him.
How about that?
Put it in writing.
Josh is calling shots right now.
Yeah.
Thank you, my brother.
Hey, Tony, one last thing out the door I want to say. Did you say Nico, was it you or Dixie who said Nico's family is 3,000 strong?
It was Andy. Rapper Andy said that he is.
Oh, okay.
He's got a family of 3,000.
Oh, okay. Well, you can add 3 more of those names to the list. I don't want to say who it is, but you already know who it is, do you?
I mean, come on. John Adams, this is, we usually talk a bunch of NFL draft, and all that stuff. This Nico thing felt just like a coaching search. It is so weird to be in that spot in the spring.
Yeah, it played out like a lot of Tennessee coaching searches did. Where you go out, you start out, you're aiming high, and then the rejections start coming in.
Sure.
And you drop down a notch, you drop down another notch, and then you end up with Joey Football, as you call him. And maybe it'll work out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Josh Heupel was Tennessee's first choice.
No.
He'd only been at UCF for 3 years. I think it's disheartening for fans sometimes because they love their program and they have a high opinion of their program naturally, and so they expect everybody to feel the same way about their program. But again, in this case, though, it wasn't a knock on Tennessee's program. It was the timing of it. It was too risky for a quarterback to make this leap. In this situation, it would have been different in December. It really would have been. I believe that.
John, stay right there because I want to ask you 5 more minutes, and then we'll take some calls at 865-200-5402. I have 5 observations on the Chris Lowe piece. I want to run them by John, by Matt, and by Bry, and get their thoughts because I have 5 observations just on everything, and I want to see if we're simpatico or how close we are or not, and I'm open to all that. TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime is on the way next. I want to thank the superstar Will for being in here and my film guy as well. We love you. We appreciate you. Peace and G to the B to the O. And good luck to you, Nico.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AV. Powell, Knoxville.
I really, after hearing what I heard this morning, I really hurt for Nico, man. That sucks.
It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
That guy did not want to leave.
Presented by TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com.
In fact, it was kind of the last thing he wanted to do. So.
And now let's go to the guys with today's edition of TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
His poor pop is playing a game he can't win. You're not going to win that game. You can really screw a career up trying to play that game that they're playing. And look, if somebody would have told me Nico was going to leave in December because there's not enough of a team around him, I'd respect that. I'd be like, okay, well, doesn't have great receivers, didn't have a great offensive line around him. If you could have blamed it on that and gone about your day, and I'd have said, okay, that's business. Pulling that stunt in the spring, pulling that stunt in the late spring it's just really something. So, John, did you read the CeeLo piece on Nico?
Yes, I did. It was pretty much a post-transfer analysis of how the situation evolved and how it went from Nico being the starting quarterback at Tennessee to being the starting quarterback at UCLA, and Joey Aguilar.
It's wild.
Been quarterback at Tennessee.
Yep.
Just crazy stuff. And then
Crazy.
As a sidebar, you've got to throw in Nico's younger brother going back from Arkansas to UCLA, where he first seemed headed. This is the poster story for NIL college football. It's going to be hard to top this one, but I think we will. I think what it'll take to top it is when a quarterback whose team is headed for the college football playoff opts out. I want more money. I can't get it here. Well, I'm going somewhere else. And I think that will happen.
Or like a coaching buddy John told me later this summer, when one of these agents approaches a head coach and says, man, so our guy's had a really good summer. Yeah, he really has. We want more money now. Or he's not going to take the field.
Yeah, don't you think it's going to happen?
Oh,
it's just a natural progression that it would happen.
It's a total fear. Matt, did you read the article, the CeeLo article? And what did you think of it?
Yeah, I did. Not really a lot of new information. It just kind of clarified a lot of things and really put a timeline together. I thought it was really interesting and kind of strange that whoever they were talking to on Nico's side, they never, didn't say it was his dad or that agent handler type guy, but they kind of put it on Nico and said that Nico was upset and Nico chose not to go to practice.
So
and
great.
Nico, the dad told Nico to, sleep on it, whether to leave or not. I thought that was kind of the only real takeaway I have, was that they kind of put it on Nico, which goes against what we've kind of heard the whole time. And I thought that was really strange.
Well, it goes against reality. Here are some of my takeaways. I think Chris Lowe does an excellent job. I think it's a really well-written article, and I think he remains pretty excellent contacts within Tennessee's program. Job well done. Second observation, we were looking at this as this thing went along. Really, nobody wins in this deal. Tennessee and Nico both look bad splashing out their dirty laundry over at ESPN.com, and that's kind of what that is. And it is becoming apparent to me that Josh Heupel knew he was in a bad marriage with that family and tried to stay in that bad marriage, and it bit him. And he could have held it together, played another football season, saw this thing through, and then flushed that kid after this following season. And I think that's what they were going to do, by the way. Whether the kid blew up or not, I think that's where this thing was heading. But they couldn't even see that thing through. They couldn't get there. John, what do you think? The guy was in a bad marriage with that family, and they tried to hold it together, and he should have evacuated the premises sooner, looking back on it.
Well, the timing of this, when you go back to December, when you're going into the college football playoff, it's hard to see beyond that. And so you are, I think, it's human nature. You're doing everything you can for short-term benefits. I mean, I know it didn't play out well, and Tennessee had a dreadful game against Ohio State and all that good stuff, but going into that game, you thought you had a shot, and I think that's where all your focus is on that, and you're trying to avoid the other. You just don't want to think about it. I'm just imagining myself in that position. You don't want to think about it, but you're right. Long term, in the way things played out, hindsight, you say, Tennessee, Josh Heupel realized, man, I don't want to just keep dealing with this. This is going to go on forever. We're never going to have closure with it. There's always going to be uncertainty if Nico's going somewhere else because of the family, because of the dad. So, it would have been better off. But I think, don't you think, though, in that situation, that it's hard to look long term when your team's going into the playoff?
I think that's why Josh Heupel needs help behind the scenes. This is Matt, you and I were talking about that off the air. I think this is an illustration of that. I think all these head coaches need help, Matt. I think they all need clarity, some help.
Yeah, and just to be able to, roster evaluation and just building a roster and keeping a roster every year. You have to re-recruit every player on your team every year, sometimes multiple times a year. It's just insane, and it's just stupid.
It's stupid.
I think that it's the weird thing about it, and I don't know if it's weird, but Heupel's a quarterback guy, and it's this quarterback recruit and all that, and they apparently had a good relationship, and this is like a 4 or 5 year relationship that they had that's kind of just fallen apart. So it's, I don't know. It's just a tough deal, and there's nobody's going to come out better for this, and especially Nico. I think this is kind of a career killer type thing for him to have to do this at this point. And I think his dad or whoever was shopping him back in December, like if you're one of those schools that's getting contacted by this kid's representatives, I think that's a red flag. Like, why would you be looking to leave a place like Tennessee in Heupel's offense that just went to the playoffs, and unless you're just wanting more money? And if that's the case, again, I said serious quarterbacks wouldn't come to Tennessee. Serious programs wouldn't take a kid like that, even though he is uber talented. I just think the family or his dad just really, really screwed this thing up.
What do you think, John?
Yeah, I do. I think it was kind of a worst case scenario as negotiations go, and I really thought the tipping point was the practice. So the missed practice. At that juncture, a football coach, practice is sacred to a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And once you say, no, I'm not going to practice,
mm-hmm.
I just think that's too much.
Especially,
it's one thing to miss appearances related to your NIL obligations.
Yeah.
It's quite another, particularly when to be a team leader, it's quite another to say, no, I'm not going to practice. A coach, you're really waving a red flag at a bull there. You just can't do it.
Matt's got a really good point. I would imagine head coaches would much rather initiate that call to tamper with somebody than have a father reach out to them and say, hey, we want off this roster. I think Matt hit the nail on the head right there. Now, if you got word that somebody was unhappy somewhere else and you wanted to get word back to a coach, that's one thing. When you're reaching out and going, hey, who wants to pay $4 million for my son? Which is what the great Chris Lowe wrote today. And then 3 months later, they were right back in the same situation with this clown. Speaking of Nico's father, because he's a clown. I'm sorry. And he's a liar. Which leads me to point 3. Big Nick is working some serious image rehab on himself, and he's hurting his son's image. Because Big Nick, Matt, should own. They should not be telling Chris Lowe that it was Nico's decision to do this. Not good for his NFL prospects, John. You covered the NFL, John. They do not want to hear that a kid did not want to come to practice and wanted to take his ball and go home. And I can promise you, when they're interviewing him, they're going to look him in the eye and they're going to say, did you do that or your father did that? And he better be honest and say it was my father, because that will kill him at that level. I don't care if he has Dan Marino's release. They are not going to play with a guy that walks off a field and leaves his team. That is not going to work at that level. It's just not.
NFL teams look at a prospective player, not just for his potential as an athlete. They also look at him. They know just like he's an employee, and managers don't like problem employees. They don't like high maintenance employees. And even if they see ability or talent or, that this person could do well, they've got to look at the other side of that. And I think that's what NFL franchises would do. They're going to be very skeptical of this situation. everybody on your team's a potential problem. And the fewer problems you have, the easier your life is, the easier your job is. And I think these NFL franchises, the GMs and all that, coaches, they just don't want a lot of problems because this is a hard business. And yeah, it's talent driven, but there are a lot of talented guys up there, and they want guys with the great work ethic and the great attitude, ideally, that have the combination of talent, work ethic, and loyalty and reliability, I guess, above all. They don't want a guy that doesn't come to practice.
Hey, Nico, tell the truth on your dad.
You can't have any problems with your quarterback.
Gotta be different.
I mean, I think more than any other position, your quarterback can't have any off-the-field issues.
Gotta be different.
That loyalty that John's talking about, the not being a problem, your quarterback has to be that. You can't have any issues with him at all, even if they're created by people who aren't the actual quarterback. If it's his inner circle, you cannot deal with that because that's just not healthy for your program. You're not going to be a winning team with those kind of guys leading it.
John, love you. Be a bird watcher, brother. Hope you see everything. Hope you see everything you've never seen today. Go for it. The great John Adams, presented by Jennifer Morris. Next move, SmokyMountains.com. She's of Keller Williams. I love her. Hey, Matt. The kid better look right into when he's being interviewed at the end. And when he's being interviewed at the end of next season, he better look at them and say, "Hey, I had nothing to do with that," because I believe that's the truth. Don't protect your father to those people. It's not worth it. This is your career, son. I'm telling you right now. I talked to somebody today extremely close to it. Tony. The kid is heartbroken that this has happened. And by the way, the little brother didn't want to leave Arkansas. But they have no recourse because they don't get a vote. And by the way, Arkansas, I hear the figure they're trying to claw back from that family is $400,000, which leads me to my next action point here, which Spire has to be absolutely furious, Matt, to read what they read in Chris Lowe's piece, what that family is saying about Spire. Go ahead, Bri.
I wonder if 20 years from now, Nico's not going to just totally want to just resent his father completely and want to just not have anything to do with it.
I feel sorry for the kid, man.
Eventually.
I feel sorry. Matt's right. This thing's a 30 for 30.
That's how that happens.
This thing's a 30 for 30. I hope they're saving the footage, and this thing is its own documentary because it's a total mess. Right from the time that the kid signed Matt and all the footage that exists, and the great Bob Baskerville and his company was shooting the video of all, they have all that stuff. Flying on the airplane, coming over to play a flag football game at Farragut. I mean, this thing's been a circus. And you know what? I thought the kid was going to be a circus clown on the front end, and I said it into a microphone. And then I said I was wrong because I don't think the kid's a bad kid. The dad's
turns out that was right.
No, the kid's not a clown. But it turned into a circus. Because you can't control crazy. You can't control crazy. Matt, how do you think Spire felt yesterday, James Clausen and them, when they read the family side of it is that they missed payments to their kid, late with payments? I'd be so pissed off. I couldn't even see straight if I saw that in print.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be pissed. Probably not surprised.
No,
because that's going to be the excuse that always comes because none of these contracts are public.
Right.
Although I guess Nico's was leaked back when he had signed it like 3 years ago
by his family.
Still, which is again is still interesting. So no, I think that was weird. I'm sure there was you don't miss a payment to your prize NIL recruit who's your quarterback. I mean, that just doesn't happen. My read on that was he probably didn't get paid full for some of the media stuff that he didn't do or some of these appearances that he was supposed to do. So he didn't get a full check of whatever he could have made. And that's what the family is leaning on and using that to say that there's missed payments.
And there are thousands of people.
They're not paying these. They're paying these kids because they're good and how good they are, not because they're doing.
That's exactly right, Brian.
And being on commercials.
That's
all it is.
That's exactly right, Brian. The pretense is
that's such a non-factor.
However, Brian, the pretense is that you're going to do things for us, and he wasn't doing anything for anybody. And here's how I know. Matt, how many ads? We live here, and we talk to people that live all over the world that have to take our word on this. How many ads, Matt, did you ever see Nico, I'm never going to leave you on? How many billboards, Matt, around town? What's the number?
I don't recall ever seeing them.
You know why? Because I work in marketing, and I've talked to people, and the family's impossible to deal with, and the number is 0. 0.
He did very few media interviews, post-practice, post-games.
0.
I guess the post-games he did some, but no, he wasn't out front hardly at all, which, again, looking back, it's kind of not a red flag. It's just interesting, but it makes sense when we hear the story after the fact.
Yep.
And all that's kind of strange because your quarterback's the face of your program, whether they want to be or not, whether they're any good or not. They are, by default, the leader of your team and the face of your program, and especially when you're as high profile as him. And that's, at the end of the day, he was nowhere near prepared to be a college quarterback really at any level, but much less at a high profile place like Tennessee, based on how he had decisions basically made for him his whole life.
And he looks like a kid. Yeah, he looks like a kid on the field, Matt, that has had decisions made for him his whole life.
Yes.
That's what he looks like on the field.
Yeah, he needed to be some 3-star recruit that redshirted at San Jose State and maybe blew up this past year and learned how to be a college kid. The parents weren't involved or as involved, and then after you blow up at the G5 level, then you enter the portal and become this guy that everybody covets. That's what he needed, but his career's kind of been stunted by this.
It's a shame because my first sense of him was that he's a clown, but he's not a clown, but he has a clown show around him. And let me tell you something: when you have a clown show around you, and you're in something that's high stakes, they can really bring you down. I feel sorry for the kid. Some of the stuff I heard today, I feel sorry for the kid. For the father to be out there doing image rehab on himself in that ESPN story, no offense. I mean, come on. Come on now. It's the same guy that told the fans that effing lax. There are kids listening right now. On social media, after Chris Lowe told you they were shopping him around in December, and the father told you there's nothing to see here. I mean, fool me once, man. And then had the balls, and some of you fell for it because you're goofy and you're like a jock sniffer. When the guy lied to you in December and you came after me, and that's fine. I'm used to getting come after. Whatever. You say what you want to say to me. I don't care. But the guy at On 3, people ripped his ass on that Thursday night. And all he's doing is telling the truth. And the Nick guy has done nothing but lie to you. The guy's a liar. No offense to him. Therefore, point number 3, Big Nick is working on image rehab his own. That's sad, man. That's sad. Think about that, Matt. The last thing I would want in print is that it was Nico's idea, Matt. Isn't that the last thing? If you really thought that thing through and you were their team, wouldn't you take the hit yourself? If you really thought that through, Matt, would you want that in print?
You certainly don't want it on him.
Of course you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing. You look at that and you go, what are we doing here? He's the focus.
Yeah. I mean, they want you to. I mean, did Madden decide that he wanted to just leave Fayetteville after the spring too?
Just all of a sudden.
I mean, come on.
He's upset.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
He's upset. Tennessee, point number 5, and then we'll go to the phones. Tennessee took the high road while miscalculating. Once Tennessee decided to go into the spring with Nico and everything that was around him, They put up with a kid that they say missed workouts and some other team-related activities. That's not good. But they're pot committed at that point. The proper thing for all parties would have been back in December, and I hope they learn from this. When daddy is shopping a quarterback around in December, and you're at a place like this, you say to daddy, and you say to the son, it's been really fun. We're the University of Tennessee. We were here before you. We're going to be here after you. And by the way, I appreciate my place that I'm coaching at enough to look you in the eye and say goodbye. That's what they should have done. You can say to me, well, hindsight's 20/20 and you're second guessing. I'm not second guessing anything. When Josh Heupel and them got word in December that this guy was calling, and there's no doubt they got word, these guys all know each other. Miami tipped them off. Hey, we're only going to offer him $1.5 million. Hey, Big Nick, you should have taken Miami's money. You're making a lot less now. No offense. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Matt, that ought to be an ironclad rule at a place like Tennessee. If I find out if my wide receiver wants to do that, my wide receiver can go do that. I'm standing with Matt Dixon, if he'll stand with me on this. Quarterback's got to behave differently. I can't have my quarterback out there doing that. If you want more money, you come to me. You don't go shopping yourself around. Yes or no, Matt? And Brian. Quarterback's got to be different.
100%.
It's bullshit, Josh.
And that's the weird thing is it doesn't sound like it was the quarterback asking for all this. It was the people around him. The quarterback probably just wanted to play.
The minute the father does that.
That's probably why Heupel let it go through the spring because, I don't think it's Nico that's demanding it. Nico probably doesn't even know how much he's been shot.
Hey, Matt,
behind the scenes.
The minute the father does that, you call the kid and the father into your office next time and you say goodbye. That's what you do. You stand with me on that? I don't care whether the kid knew or not. You say goodbye.
You tell the dad goodbye for sure. You say, if you're going to keep meddling, we're not doing this anymore.
Well, you say then you're saying goodbye to
everybody. If you're going to leave your kid here and let us develop him, that's fine. But you're not interjecting yourself into this anymore.
Well,
and that probably is probably not going to go your way, and then
you're telling everybody goodbye.
Then he leaves. But
yeah, the minute, and I hold Heupel responsible for that. I wrote today in the blog, the man's paid $9 to $11 million, whatever the number is, he's paid. You got to be a better caretaker of the program than that. I'm sorry.
I'm a little concerned that he let that coach's Heupel stature would let that go on. It sort of gives me pause for what might be next. And
I agree.
If the program really is slipping, that's something I think that's a red flag that a coach would allow this to be held hostage.
I find that very.
But they're married together. This is a high profile, like NIL, at the forefront. Like this was a marriage that they needed to work, and this was like a 3 or 4 year deal, and they were getting ready to enter the last year of it.
And he's hitched himself to the wrong quarterback before. Look at Milton and Hooker.
But this is very, very diminishing of Josh Heupel, that article is, in my opinion. It just is. You got to look that guy in the eye. You mean tell me a Kirby Smart, if he got word that dad was shopping him after the season that kid had? You mean to tell me Kirby Smart would have taken that from them? Because I'm going to help you out. He would not have. It's one thing if a school calls you and tampers with you and you're a player. But when you're a quarterback, you comport yourself differently. And Tennessee did nothing bad faith-wise with that family. Nothing. But you can't lay there like a marshmallow and take it. You just can't. You cannot. It's my fifth takeaway. Tennessee took the high road. The head coach took the high road. You can't take the high road. You got to take the bull by the horns with authority, with urgency, and say, get the hell off my campus. We will find a quarterback. And look, if you're willing to do that in the spring, you should have been willing to do it in December. I jumped Rusty's ass last week for telling me that. He's right. I've had a chance to think about it. Again, my thing is I can be wrong. I will not stay wrong. I was wrong about that last week. The more I've thought about this, and I bathed in this for 2 weeks, when you're the head coach here, your job is to guard the program. And damn it, that would have pissed me off to high heaven if I'd have known that you were doing that to us after we held up our end of the bargain. We flew your damn family back and forth for 50 million times on a private jet so you could come jet setting, wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing, all that goofy bullshit we were doing. And you're going to do this to us after you were mid on the football field and didn't know what was going on in the Oklahoma game? I'd have said, get your coat, your lay, and get the hell out my way. Go get you another job. And I'm sorry. If you don't feel the same way, if you don't think this is part of Heupel's fault, it is his fault. It is. Because I didn't do it. He did. In December, when you're sitting there and they're holding you over a barrel after that, and you know that they've been talking to other schools, shit. You're a quarterback. You're a quarterback, man. You're not a wide receiver. You're a wide receiver. You won't do that? Josh Heupel knows this. That's how wide receivers behave. You're a quarterback. You're one of me, man. I won a Heisman Trophy. I won a national championship. I'm trying to show you the way. You can't sit there like a marshmallow and take that and get your ass run over. And now look at the spot we're in. Tony, you're second guessing. Actually, no, I'm not. Actually, I read Chris Lowe's article yesterday. I'm not second guessing anything. I'm telling you right now, I'd have looked at his family and I'd have said, you get your ass out of my... You know what? Do you know what a guy that has zero money in the business, okay? That Odom guy found out that kid wanted more money at midseason and was kind of holding him up last year. He told him, you get your ass out of my office. I got a buddy of mine that was in that building that was there on another thing, like basketball-wise. He said you could hear the Odom guy screaming down the hall. Get out of here. You are a head coach, Josh Heupel. You got to respect this. You got to respect all this, man. More than that. I'm sorry. It's the truth.
He's not assertive in recruiting. He's not assertive in the portal. He doesn't get after officials' asses when they need to be chewed out.
You can't get run over.
Work them.
Matt, I know I'm being hard on Heupel, Matt.
That all goes hand in hand.
You can't get run over there, Matt. We got run over, Matt. We got worked by that family. That's what happened. I mean, that is what happened here. And we knew who they were. He showed you in December who he was, Matt. It really makes me mad the more I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously not a good situation at all, and not healthy for your program. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's the right or wrong thing to do. He was going to try to make it work for one more year, and maybe it would have worked out. That's what's so frustrating for me as a fan is there's a chance that Nico could have blown up this year and lived up to some of those expectations, or had a great year, and then he's off to the NFL. But we'll never know. He probably wasn't, but it's just there's no winners in this.
No. No.
And Nico was played probably just like Tennessee was by his family, unfortunately.
And then and again, the next time this head coach has a quarterback come to him in a spot like that, you tell him to get out of my office. Because if you don't want to be here, look, if you want to come to me and you want to tell me and you want to negotiate with me, that's fine. The minute I find out that you're shopping yourself to other schools in my league, you will get your shit and you will get out of my office. And I mean that. I mean that with a straight face. I don't care if you're Peyton Manning. You will get your stuff and you will get it. Now, if you come to me and you say, Coach, I got pretty beat up in that Ohio State game. You need to go in that transfer portal and help me out, and his father and the agents want that. Okay, I respect that. Or, coach, our wide receiving core, we were throwing long balls to a guy that couldn't lift his arm over his shoulder. We got to get better wide receivers, or I'm going to find something else. Okay, that's fine. The minute I find out that you are the one initiating, not other teams are initiating with you, but you're a quarterback, the minute I find that out, it is goodbye, baby. And that better be this guy's policy going forward. Any head coach here.
He's not going to put himself in this situation again where a family does that.
I don't know.
I would guess.
I don't know. I don't know that. I know one thing. He better handle it differently.
Would it require changing your personality a little bit? And
no.
Who can do that?
No, it doesn't require changing your personality. It's a policy.
Because that's just not how he's been.
It's a policy position. And I would say that to these kids. Look, here's the thing with Nico. He negotiated with other schools. If I find out, I would say it publicly. If I find out you're negotiating with other schools behind our back, because that's operating in bad faith. That's what that is. It's operating in bad faith. The last thing I need from a quarterback. Tony, you mean other positions can do that? Sure. I would expect wide receivers to do that. That's not fair. Hey, not everybody gets to play quarterback. That position has to be different. It just has to be different. So I buried my lead down there at number 5, but we'll go to the phones. The more I've thought about the last couple of weeks, the more I've thought about how, and not hindsight's always 20/20, but the minute they learned that this team, and it was in Lowe's article, was shopping this kid in December in their own league. In their own league, man. In their own league. Get out my face. Goodbye. To the phones we go. Hello and welcome in.
Hey, Tommy. This is Jay Griff in Trenton.
Hey, Jay. Welcome in. I can hardly hear you. I don't know if you're on like an earpiece or what you're on, but speak up for me. Go for it.
Okay. No, I agree with what you've been saying. I was hoping maybe he'd have learned his lesson since this happened, but it doesn't look like it because, we're still trying to recruit the 5 stars and bring them in. If I was running a team nowadays, I think I would just go for 1 or 2 year rental quarterback and just recruit 3 or 4 stars and then use the rest of my money for, playmakers and, receivers and running backs and linemen.
Yeah, I would live in the portal a little more. I would live in the known if it were me. I think Lane Kiffin's got a pretty interesting approach in what he's doing at Mississippi because he's raised the level of Mississippi, spending comparable money than we're spending. He's raised the level at a place like that ought not be in the spot they're in right now.
Yeah, I agree. I just think when you get these guys in and you're going to pay them a bunch of money, you don't know how good they're going to be, and you don't know what kind of problems they're going to have. And I think he learned a valuable lesson, I would have hoped.
I hope so, because a quarterback's got to be different, Jay. A quarterback, that's the one position. Sure. If you want to be unloyal to me and you're my wide receiver, Josh Heupel played quarterback. He understands. Wide receivers always are thinking about themselves. I'm not going to say they're not team-oriented people, but they're divas. That's who they are. And they never get the ball enough. And when they drop a ball, they never drop the ball. But quarterbacks just have to be different. It just has to. And Matt makes a great point. This is a kid they identified like a year and a half before the fact. They had a 4-year relationship. And they were still going to spit in this guy's face. Well, they did. No, they weren't going to spit. They spit in his face in December, man. That would have run all over me.
Yeah, and I'm not too concerned about quarterbacks with Heupel because he's gotten 2 guys drafted since he's been here that nobody even heard of or did nothing until he got a hold of them. And got him drafted. So what I'm worried about is the rest of the team, and this is going to be the first year that, Pruitt's players are gone, and these are all his players that they've recruited and they've developed. And this is going to be a big year for him, because if it doesn't go well this season, there are going to be a lot of questions that are going to have to start being asked, because I see a lot of players going in the portal, but I don't see a lot of players coming in from the portal. And he chose to recruit mainly players and go with, these recruits and sprinkle in a few portal players here and there. But, he's chose this path. So, if it works, great. But if it doesn't, he's going to have to reevaluate, because he's going to start feeling the heat here for the first time since he's been here. And to me, that's a real concern. We got a lot of talented guys, but there's no proven players. They haven't had their chance, but they're going to get their chance. And I just hope for his sake and for the fans and everybody that, it works out. But
I like the guy, but I'm worried about it. I've said, look, Butch Jones I thought was kind of a bozo and a bum. We made fun of him while he was here. I'm not going to make fun of Josh Heupel. I'm just not, because I think he's a serious football coach. I think he's a serious person. I think he's excellent schematically with what he does. I don't. Looks to me like Nico did not fit his system, which is kind of a curious thing. So I guess we'll see what happens from here. But I'll tell you this: it's extremely feels crossroady for him right now. And it's not even so much this season. This season, it's really next season that's going to be crossroady. But we got to get to this season first and get through this season. But it feels very crossroady with Josh Heupel right now.
Yeah, it does. It's getting to the point. I want to ask you one question about the draft before I get off here. I saw a report, and I don't know if it's true, because a lot of the stuff you see, you don't know whether it's true or not, but are the Eagles considering trading up to get that Abdul Carter guy? And I saw that they were considering trading the receiver to the Patriots. Was that a...
I don't know. It would make complete sense to me that the Eagles would think about doing something like that. For one thing, I think Abdul Carter is a dynamite impact player. For another thing, the Brown guy, look, buy low, sell high. That's what you'd be doing there. Even though he's been pretty in line, and they don't win a Super Bowl without him, no question about it. But nothing would surprise me with Howie Roseman. And I would say Abdul Carter would be a risk worth taking if they could get him, if that would fall to them. I don't know why the Patriots would do that. I don't know. You'd have to offer me a real sweetener, like a series of picks, which I think the Eagles do have. They've accrued some picks down through the years, so it's going to be interesting tonight.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be him, and then maybe like a second-round pick or something. But But yeah, it should be pretty exciting. All right, so thank you guys.
Thank you. Have you guys noticed where's James Pierce projected to go? At one time, he was thought to be extremely way up the board, and then, of course, did not have the greatest season, and has not had some of the greatest things said about him off the field. Has anybody noticed where Pierce is supposed to go?
Second day, I'm guessing.
Is that right?
I think is what I saw.
He was thought to be
maybe Matt's seen it.
He was thought to be a mid to high first round draft pick at one point.
Yeah, I don't keep up with the NFL draft. Who do you want the Jaguars to draft, Brian?
Well, I saw a projection that had Dylan Sampson going to them in a later round.
Nice.
Which is probably a mid-round. So, I'd take that.
What do you need on your first round tonight, Brian? You guys need O-line?
Well, they've won 4 games last year, so they need lots of things.
That's a great answer. Hello and welcome into our next call. It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime. I didn't mean to get wordy, but I'm just the the more I think about this thing, I don't like how it played out.
Hey, Randy. Hey, Tony. It's Randy Baltimore.
Hey, Randy. Welcome in.
Hey, I got a question. How much money did we spend on NIL and basketball and football?
Football last year about $15 million. Basketball about $3.5 million.
Okay, and what are we spending this year on basketball?
Basketball, if they get that kid from Connecticut, and then they're going to add probably that Tyson kid that washed out at North Carolina, they're going to get him for next to nothing. He's going to be sort of a role player for them. Maybe they can rehabilitate him a little bit and get something out of him. I think basketball's payroll is going to be around $11 million.
Okay. Do you think that's where a lot of our NIL money is going out towards basketball?
No.
You do not think that? Okay.
No, I do not, Randy. I think if Josh Heupel said, "Hey, I got a guy that for a quarterback that wants $7 million," they get $7 million for him.
Oh, well, that's bad.
Let me ask you this, Randy. At the University of Tennessee, if they can pay $4.3 million for one basketball player, you think the football coach could get it if he asked for it?
I feel like our football coach Barnes is just trying harder. I mean, he's coaching. He's trying to get players like he's not going to be there much longer. Does that make any sense to you, Tony? Desperation.
I call it urgency. But from every head coach every offseason, I want to see urgency. I remember doing that interview with Tony Vols last year after they had won the World Championship of college baseball. And he was on the other side of New England, and he spent 45 minutes with us because he was going to the Cape Cod League. Which tells me, Randy, hey, I just won it, and he did not take a week off. He went right to that damn Cape Cod League, if you guys will remember that. And we hung out with him for 45 minutes on the air. And last time I checked, Josh Heupel's not won a national championship here. Maybe I missed something. I'd like to see some urgency out of him. And I'm not a Johnny-come-lately. I was saying this back in December. Why is Malachi Branch playing at Georgia and we're not involved in that? We need to be involved in that. I'm sorry.
And Tony, okay, Heupel in college, from my recollection, he didn't have the grades on him, did he?
No.
Okay.
No.
And he goes out and gets these Joe Melton and his Nico's that can sling it, okay? And I think Heupel just thinks he can put his brain in them quarterbacks. And it's I have a hard time trusting his first on quarterbacks.
But you know what? You say that, Matt, the quarterbacks at Central Florida that he found were all really productive, really good players. That's what's weird about it, Matt. Isn't it strange? Or is it just different leagues, Matt? Is that what we're talking about? Apples and oranges here?
A little bit. He inherited Mackenzie Milton, and I can't remember if they went to the same high school as Gabriel, or there was a connection to Gabriel, and so they brought him in, and he was a lot better than probably they expected, or really anybody. I mean, that guy was a great college quarterback.
Unreal.
So it is interesting and strange that Heupel hasn't figured out the right type of quarterback for his offense at this point. But again, he's still pretty young in his head coaching career.
He is.
You always want the most talented, guys you can get. So, and it's so easy to see why you would trust it, why you would try a Joe Milton or Nico, because you just see it. But no, it is interesting, and it's a very valid point, and it's not a big concern, but it's slowly becoming a bigger issue that his quarterback evals haven't been great.
It's really odd. And then the wide receivers too, it's the evals, it's just the washout rate of those guys. It's just odd. I mean, it's just, and look, again, I think Heupel's a serious person and a serious head coach and a damn good head coach. He's won 10 games twice, but he's getting ready to have to do it with his own players.
And Tony, would you ever think when you hired Heupel that our defense would be better than our offense?
That would be a hell no. Not only a no, but a hell no. Because the thought would have been, you're not going to be able to get SEC caliber players that want to be on the field that much.
Like I said, I hope this Joe's boy's a good quarterback, and I'm glad to hear you say that all the money ain't going to basketball. It just seems like you've got like 12 basketball players, and you got $11 million spent on basketball, and then you turn around and you got 85 scholarships, and you're spending $16 million on football.
Yeah, but I think the football, what they eventually spend on football, swells over $20 million pretty easily, pretty quickly. Like at Ohio State, the expectation is they're going to spend around $30 million on their roster.
Well, they're going to have to quit building buildings and go get some players, Tony.
Thank you. Yeah, the thing that's confusing people is this house case. The house case hasn't come into effect yet. If you'll remember, the judge a couple weeks ago spoke and said we're going to revisit this. There's an expectation that the house case might get enacted this summer, but this is just more uncertainty, and it just lays over top of all this. But even at that, you're still going to be able to pay people what you want to pay them. It's just that now the kids are going to get a cut of television revenue. If you think for 1 second that these people, this dilute toys thing, and that you're going to have these hard caps for these sports, you're not going to have hard caps until you get these football players and these basketball players in a union. I don't know what that looks like. I don't pretend to know what that looks like, but smarter people than I will do this. And that's when we're going to start seeing collective bargaining. You can start including caps. And that's when all this stuff, that's what they need to do. Why they won't do it, I don't know. They keep deferring to the courts and the federal courts. And the Supreme Court itself has already told them your business model is stupid. We better not see you in here again. We don't want to see you here. I don't understand it. I don't understand any of this. But I do know this. You can only play the game according to the rules they are, and the next time a sitting quarterback is negotiating with another team behind your back in bad faith, you need to tell that sitting quarterback to take your coat and your lei and get on out my way. Back to the phones we go, because that's the damn truth. You can control what you can control. Hello and welcome into our next call. You're on the air.
Hey guys, it's Parker. What's going on, Tony B?
Hey Park, welcome in.
Brother, that Chris Lowe article felt like I was in middle school. He said, she said, are we, he's a great journalist, don't get me wrong, but are we really doing this in 2025?
Well, that's why nobody wins. But he wrote a story that had to be written.
I don't know who to believe. I mean, I agree with you that Big Nick is a problem, obviously. He's a selfish dad and is only looking out for his own self-interest. But, it's sources close to this person, sources close to that person. I mean, what's truth here? It's kind of blurring the lines for me.
How about them painting a picture where the kid is the one that quit the team?
Yeah, the whole thing about how, so that's true. It says that, or Lowe reported that Big Nick wanted him to meet Heupel before the day before the spring game. Is that actually true?
Say that again.
In the article, unless I misinterpreted it, and somebody fact check me, please, but it said that Big Nick asked Nico to go talk to Heupel before he left the team.
Again, who the way that was leaked? Go ahead, Matt. Jump in.
Yeah, no, that's what the article said, that the dad was telling Nico to go talk to Heupel, but that Nico didn't feel he could trust anybody at Tennessee anymore, is what the article said by whoever the family spokesman was who went on there.
Parker, who would say that? Who does that make look really good in that? Who's it make look really bad in that?
Oh, totally, yeah.
How sorry do we feel for the kid? When you see that's what they're putting out about him, and he's got to read that. And I'm telling you, I feel we could kill the kid and bury him, okay? I don't think he's a very good football player. I've said that. I don't think he was all that. I think he's going to miss. I think he was going to miss. I don't think Tennessee came to the conclusion he wasn't worth it, which means they didn't think he was going to have a K Club next season, or they would have given him his $4 million. All that's to me, in the rearview mirror to this. When your side is leaking that and making that kid look like a shrinking violet in that way, and that's coming from his camp, that is not good. They are not doing him a service. In fact, they're doing that kid a grave disservice. I feel very sorry for him.
Is he breaking $1 million at UCLA? Do we have that?
No, I don't think so. I think $1 million out there is $300,000 here, cost of living.
Well, yeah, that, and then you have city taxes and state taxes. And
it's $300,000. That's what it is. Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. It's just unreal. But I will say, people, as much as people complain, Tony, like our culture in the SEC, we're like drug addicts, man. We're gonna love it regardless. People are gonna tune in Saturdays. It doesn't matter what's gonna happen.
Sure.
If anything, this is good, especially for your business. I mean, think about the headlines. What would you be talking about right now? If Cam Carr is going to be selected by the Titans, who cares? This is freaking Knoxville.
Well, listen, I don't like this stuff, quite frankly. This is my music season. I'm pretty selfish. The Tennessee baseball team should be what we should be focusing on. And then looking ahead to football season with an eye toward, hey, this team has this team has that. This stuff, like you just said, it's like covering entertainment. Like, I felt kind of pathetic. I'm like, why are we worried about these people? Because really, at the end of the day, Josh Heupel's making trillions of dollars, and Nico and those people are just he's a kid, and they're not serving him. But this stuff here really matters. And that's why, like when the quarterback search was going on last week, that's why I was telling people what was really going on. Now, I wasn't going to give names, but we were talking about the thing as it was developing. Let me tell you something. I don't enjoy 1 second of this. Not a second of it. I'm sorry.
Well, I want to focus in on the micro of Tennessee football and then the macro of college football.
Yep.
And I listened. I didn't get to really listen on the show other than yesterday. I was listening to a podcast, but the debate between you and Mark in Colombo was pretty interesting. I kind of agree with him in the sense that we couldn't find anybody else as good as he is for our program. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, you had to let him go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the one thing that Mark and his camp makes, the one point that those guys have made to me that I've kind of rejected till now, because then I think about it, you're the head coach. You shouldn't come to this. You should have done this in December, man. You got to do the inevitable immediately, and you're paid the big money to do that. People say, well, you're second-guessing. Okay, I'm second-guessing. The next time this happens and a quarterback negotiates behind this guy's back, or his representatives negotiate behind this guy's back, he better say to the guy, get out of my office. You're gone. Like Barry Odom did at UNLV. Because then you could go get a quarterback.
Is there a contemporary right now, not anybody, you can't say Saban or one of the legendary coaches, is one of Heupel's contemporaries, would they say that to Nico and his camp back in December?
You think Kirby Smart? You think Kirby Smart would have put up with that?
I don't know. Kirby Smart.
Shit.
He can't keep up with his team. Half of them are in that jail.
Let me help you out. There's no way. A kid going 1,000,000 miles an hour on the road and being a 20-year-old kid is one thing. Being disloyal, your quarterback being disloyal to your program, there's no way in hell Kirby Smart will put up with that. No way.
That's a fair point.
Like, no
and
way.
I will say this,
as in no way.
In your debate, and again, it was great, and I love that y'all can have that spirited, discussion.
I love Mark. He's my guy.
But I don't think I heard this, guys. I don't think it really mattered, even if Nico stayed, or if Aguilar, which we know he's not going to be as good as we wanted. The guy from Notre Dame or whatever. guys, we don't have an offensive line. Nobody, and I think you've talked about it, maybe nobody, so I think you maybe the only pundit talked about it, but outside of Sanders, we have a makeshift line. You know who had a makeshift line last year? Florida State. Look how that happened for them.
No argument from me. You get no argument from me.
I know you said best 8-4. I was thinking 7-5 before, even with Nico. And now that Syracuse got that Notre Dame guy, it's going to be a hard season.
That's going to be a tougher game because he can throw it around a little bit. Now he can't move at all, so I think Tennessee will, because Tennessee knows this. They kicked the tires on him. I think they had to. He's available and he's in the portal. They know they're going to put as much pressure on him and turn him into a white turkey. Hey, Matt, you wanted to say something. Go ahead to Parker.
Well, I'm just saying it. I agree with you when you talk about a quarterback being loyal. Do we know if Nico was involved in any of that stuff in December? Because I think there's a decent chance the dad was going behind Nico's back, too, trying to shop him around.
Again.
And that might be why Heupel tried to make it work and went through the spring with it.
Hey, Matt.
It might be where Nico was loyal. It was just the people around him were shopping him, and even he didn't know it.
When the dad shows you who he is, and you know the dad speaks for everybody involved, you say goodbye to everybody. I'm sorry. That's what you had to do, man. That's what you had to do.
Though, y'all, and you've made this point well in the show. He's 20 years old. At some point, you're your own man, and I get it. It's hard to go against your dad, but my goodness, if you're going to be an NFL quarterback in a year and a half, you're going to have to do these contracts and negotiate all yourself. You're going to have to assemble a team, and it's just hard. I get it, but that's a good question, Matt. I don't know. Chris Love.
It's a great question. Matt. I love Matt. That's a great question. It wouldn't matter to me. Because the minute the family did that, the minute they did that to me, you're gone. You're that disloyal to me, you're gone.
The thing I want to focus on here, the last thing is that house settlement's coming in.
Yeah.
Is it going to open the door, Tony, to finally getting these guys collective bargaining? Because in my world, this is what I envision college football in 10 years. Okay, it's the NFL 2.0 or the NFL minor league. You're going to have 32 of the biggest brands in college football. How you determine that, I have no idea. You can determine it on historical, prestige, by national championships, by market share in terms of who's tuning in the most. I don't know how you get there, but you get the 32 biggest brands. You cut the rosters down to 52, 53, whatever the NFL is. You have collective bargaining, so there's a players' union, just like in any other major professional sports. They bargain for a player minimum, just like any other professional sport. You have contracts, and after the end of these contracts, you can renegotiate or you can go to a different team. And another thing is that these guys are no longer students. And I don't know if anybody said that. I'm willing to say that. They should just be employees. University of Tennessee employees, they get health insurance, they get benefits, they bargain for all those things. That's the future. And just as a side thing, just to get kind of fun with it, I think we should even have like a European soccer relegation style. How cool would that be? The bottom two of those 32, they're fighting, like Kansas State, or they're fighting SMU to get into the group of five, or get out of the group of five and get down. How cool would that be?
How quickly, if you did that, and Parker, thank you. I think that kind of model, I think it'll be like a 50 or 60 team model, but thank you, Parker. I believe this. Vanderbilt would immediately be relegated. How's that for a hot take, Matt? In fact, why don't we relegate? Well, you need some wins on your schedule. I was going to say, why don't we relegate him right now?
You would relegate Diego Pavia?
He's kind of my boy. You're right.
Just checking.
I love Pavia. I know one thing. This is no longer college football. Now, we still love it. There's still passion associated with it. But what's happened here is our whole thing, we've gotten burned in this thing badly. That's why Parker was saying, well, I'm not going to lie, like we're doing huge numbers. Why are we doing huge numbers? Because I'm telling you what's going on. I'm the one crazy enough to tell you about this stuff in real time. And if you read the Chris Lowe article, you'll go, oh, well, Tony was talking about that. And I'm not blowing my own horn, but it's the reality. You're not going to get them all right, and you're not going to get everything right. But I endeavor, when we get behind this microphone, like Matt will tell you, we were talking about this thing with Nico potentially blowing up a few weeks back when the Oregon people alerted Tennessee. And we all kind of sit here and do the show because we're all just like, okay, well, you kind of file that away, and a lot of things you hear turn out not to be true, right? I mean, it's just, that was so fantastical. There's just, you're thinking to yourself, that's fantasy. There's no way that's true. There's just no way that's true. But it was true. Tony, really easy for you to say it's not your job. I'm telling you right now, for quarterback, if you're my quarterback and I'm paying you and you're in my deal, and like Matt said, I have had a 3-year relationship with you and we just had a year, and you didn't bring all this to me and you're out there shopping yourself around, not him, but his team. Whether he knows about it or not, I sit the father and the kid down, I call the agent on the speakerphone and I say, guys, it's been a lot of fun. And by the way, I'm calling a press conference and I'm going to tell everybody what you guys just did. Good luck at your next stop. You have to do that. You have to do that. If you don't do that at one of these schools, you're not caretaking your program. I'm sorry. You have to do that. Look, if you want to come to me and you want to negotiate for more money, fine. But you're not going to leverage somebody against me. You're my quarterback. You're different. You're not a wide receiver. And the minute I find out you're doing that, you're gone. I don't care how good you are. And that kid wasn't that good. And now look at the spot we're in. We got Joey Football, who we all hope, I'm hoping for a storybook like Will Heflin said. I hope the storybook comes to life. Don't we all? Wouldn't that be great? Storybook ending. Well, we're out of time. Matt, in fact, we're overtime to the overtime on TLD Logistics Overtime. So we'll pick this up tomorrow because I might get Bino's thoughts on that because that's where I've come. 2 weeks later, I've come to this. This should have never come to this. And Josh Heupel bears blame. I'm sorry. He doesn't bear all the blame, but he bears blame. The family's crazy. The dad's nuts. The dad's so crazy that he's image rehabbing himself rather than his son. That's just simply insane to me.
Yeah, it never should have come to a good way to kind of sum it up.
That's it.
I got two final thoughts. I'll try to be quick on the football part of it, and just Heupel bears some blame. I mean he's the head coach. Obviously, the blame has to be him, but I don't know really what that means. But what we need to be focused on is the program going forward and kind of just forgetting about Nico. And we got to figure out a way to help Heupel manage this new landscape of college football and manage a roster better and have the best players we can to win, because he has proven already that he's a great coach and we have a great scheme, and when it's working, it's elite. And so he's got the hard part kind of figured out. It's all this new stuff and having to manage all these things on the fly, being the first time for all this stuff that he needs some help on. And I hope he's willing to acknowledge that. And Tennessee and Danny White, whoever, we need to figure out a way to help him so we can navigate all this, so we can kind of stay in this playoff atmosphere. Because it was a lot of fun last year to do that and be a great program again and beat Alabama, beat Florida, do all that's great, and I hope we can stay there. And I just know Heupel needs a little bit of help doing that. So that's my final thought there. So,
hey Matt,
and then my only other one, and Matt, I don't get
before you do your second thought. Can you please write me a paragraph? I want to lead the blog with that tomorrow because I want to talk about this tomorrow. Because there were a bunch of people that wanted to talk about it. Would you please, what you just said about him, because I like the guy and I want him to make it, but he needs help. That is really, really well put. Go ahead. Give me your second point.
Yeah, just tomorrow's my 10th wedding anniversary, so I just want to say happy anniversary to my wife, Tina. She means everything to me. I don't deserve her at all. She's the best person I know, the strongest person I know, and somehow, and I guess for reasons only known to her and God, she's been married to me for 10 years, and I just want to appreciate her on air and give her a shout out.
Wow, and to hear you get emotional. I love you so. To get emotional like that, man. Let there be love, my brother. Thank you for sharing that with us, Matt. What a great way to end the show today. Thank you. Brian and myself will be back with Bino tomorrow, but listen anyway. Matt, happy anniversary to you. I got you on my mind. Little River Band. That is such a beautiful thing to feel that emotion and to share that like that from your heart. Man, thank you, brother. And until we meet again, for all those behind the scenes, I want to thank TLD Logistics. They're online at tldlogistics.com. To the callers, I'm sorry I got wordy. I'm sorry I got wordy on you there. And when I thought about my 5th point on the blog today, it stirred me all up because your head coach, man's got to watch your program. I'm talking like Jimmy Dykes right now. I keep using an indiscriminate man for some reason. But to channeling my inner Jimmy Dykes, your head coach, man's just got to be different. And you got to stop it because none of us know that's going on. You are the firewall. You're the head coach. You are the firewall. Love you. Appreciate you. Peace. G to the B to the O. And you know what, Nico? I feel sorry for you, Nico. So G to the B to the O, and let's all feel sorry for Nico. Imagine that. Father doing that to him. That is... In that story, I mean, when you read that, that's unbelievable. Well, it is unbelievable because it's unbelievable. Because it's not true.
Knoxville.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tony Basilio proudly brings to you the Thursday edition of your Tony Basilio show. Neither Brian nor John has any idea what I just did. The D-Generation X. Will doesn't know about it either. Will Heflin, the superstar, is in studio with us. Superstar Will, how we doing, buddy?
It's a great day to have a great day, TB. How are you?
It is a great day. I like that. John Adams.